Welcome to GoodFlickas, home of the GoodFlickas. Can you take our critiques? Let us find out as we dive into a Whisker Away. I am Matt, of course, joined by and Brian. Because this is a fun thing that I decided when I looked at your shirt. I had an idea for names for you guys where I wanted to basically see you guys and pick out, like, describe what kind of cat you are and give you a name. And your name is completely different for me now simply because of what the shirt you're wearing, and I love it. And I may even be completely wrong, but Brian, we are joined tonight with Brian, who, if I were to say as a cat, is going to look a lot like O'Malley from the Aristocats, wearing this shirt. So like full on like that orange like cat, alley cat, with the blue shirt. And I was gonna give you like a cool name, but now you're just you're Prince Periwinkle. My little Prince Periwinkle in this orange cat, and I think you're adorable.
Why should I worry?
That's Oliver and Company, but cool.
Yeah, close enough.
Are you saying you're that little orange cat? Okay,
maybe I'll take it.
You're Oliver.
Does anyone want to buy a mask?
This is why, like, this is just, I'm liking the cat thing, and I'm wondering if that's why, and we'll get to him later, but the bearded bastard, badass. Damn, I actually meant to say badass, but it's like slip of the tongue at this point.
It's so ingrained in
it really
it's
is.
so
like,
ingrained in you now to say bastard.
I didn't mean to be. I don't want to be mean tonight. I didn't mean to be mean yet. Anyway,
you don't mean to be mean.
I don't mean to be mean. But
just mean.
Yeah, Brian, to answer your question, no, I would not buy a mask.
Okay, just curious.
Certainly not. And that leads us to Jen, who is of course a beautiful black cat. Yes. And you listed off so many damn nicknames. Like, I don't think I can come up with anything that's like super fun for you. And my mind just immediately goes to Salem with black cats, but that's boring and like she basic. Brian, you look like you had an idea.
I mean, if you're gonna go with like Salem black cats, you could call it Thackeray.
Yeah, see, it feels too on the nose.
Oh, okay.
But maybe Binks. Like,
what about
just a good cat name? Like, it's close enough.
What's the one from Sabrina? Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's Salem.
What about we go like Sylvestrina?
Does anybody know the cat from Sailor Moon?
No.
What?
Yeah.
What's the cat's name?
I only watched a little bit of Sailor Moon, but I remember that damn cat.
But Jen's got black and white going on. We could do like a female version of Sylvester.
There was a female version of Sylvester.
Sylvestina.
Yeah, I tried. It was not easy.
That's Sylvia.
Ooh, there you go.
So, okay, so all right, Sylvia, that's a good one. Okay, so Sassy Sylvie. Yeah. Sassy. That's gonna be the nickname, Sassy Sylvia. I like it. Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that because my mom's cat is also black and white, and its name is Sassafras, and we call her Sassy for short.
See?
but it's great because you're linking Homeward Bound in. I like the connection. This works.
You're on that. You on that level. You on that level.
Sassy Sylvia.
Sassy Sylvia. So, Nick, have you seen the image of it's the little kitten that just got like the little frown? It looks all mad. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's like this little cat. He's all fluffy and hairs all over the place and just looks all mad.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Grumpy Cat.
Grumpy cat.
It's not Grumpy Cat. It's like a little kitten. I don't know the story behind this kitten, but it's freaking adorable. But so if you can imagine just a little kitten that's all cute and like it's got orange and white fur, kind of like a tiger or something going on. Your hair's all just crazy and just looking all mad. With just like a nice little like chin beard going on in the kitty.
Longest intro ever.
I'm sorry. I really wanted to describe. I don't care.
You're really nailing it.
Dude, I don't
just
care.
saying.
I want to talk about you guys.
I'm a tabby. Just say I'm a tabby with my ginger. You know.
Again, 2 on the nose. You guys think I have no imagination? No, you're this angry little kitten.
Look at you, you little Garfield.
See,
there you go.
Heathcliff. That is your name. You were Heathcliff. Yeah, there's a deep cut for you. Exactly. Orange cap.
Or what was the comic book?
My friend.
What was the guy?
Cheshire? What's the Cheshire cat?
No, the guy and his cat. Oh my goodness! What's the comic book series with the dude and his cat?
Oh, Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin and Hobbes. Thank you. I was like Hobbes and Shaw. I'm like, no, that's not it.
His stuffed tiger. Dude, I love Calvin and Hobbes. That great.
That was good. That was good entertainment. I do remember. I remember them.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I had to give you guys time to eat all your food. Like, look, Jen's basically done with her bowl. Didn't even ask her what was in it. Not going to now because you've ruined it. God. Party poopers, why can't we just talk? You guys got to be all whatever. Fine. Welcome to GoodFlickas, where we can't have fun unless they want to. And we are talking about A Whisker Away, which was the bearded badass himself. It was Nick's pick. So please, Nick, tell us why you picked it.
Yeah.
Well, I picked this because I didn't really want to pick like another feel-good Disney film.
Mission accomplished.
Especially,
dude, I got
that.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. After coming from The Lion King, I just didn't want like kind of like the same kind of theme, and so I just wanted to switch it up and throw an anime in there, and have an animated August that was very diverse. So I just wanted to pick an anime, and I was just looking on Hulu had like no animes on there, and Netflix had a few, so I just picked one that I thought was interesting, and I saw one about cats, and I know we talk a lot about cats in this podcast, so I thought you guys would enjoy it. Even if you don't like anime itself, I hope you enjoy the cats. But that's why I picked it.
Cats.
Cats.
Love it. So I'm happy to go first, but does anybody want to volunteer?
I think Jen does.
We got Jen. What is with this laugh? This is like maniacal.
I almost want to like hold her off just to like.
It's just
the suspense.
I'm not gonna put juju on, but I feel like something's coming.
What's coming is Jen's got strong feelings, and we're gonna hear.
Oh no, I know. I just don't know if they're really good or really bad.
No, I will go first. So this was obviously my first time seeing this. I watched it last night, and kind of a tough one right before bed, I'll be honest. But it was beautiful. It was so well animated. I know it's like in the vein of Studio Ghibli, like with that kind of animation in mind. And the animation was absolutely beautiful. I don't know. This is one of those things where I feel like sometimes translating a story from its original language into English, it doesn't always land perfectly. I feel they told a wonderful story, but there are some things like the nuances of characters that I think if you don't watch it a few times and kind of gain this history and of knowing, it's a little hard to understand what's happening, which we'll get into later. But ultimately, I do really, as I'm thinking about this and as I thought about it last night, like I was like, it was okay, it was fun, but like I like this movie. I think there's a lot of good stuff about it, but it's not one that I think I'd recommend to anybody. If somebody else brought it up, I'd be like, yeah, it's not a waste of time, but it's probably not going to like change your life or anything. So ultimately, I think this is a pretty decent movie. It could be better. I think it's probably better in its original language, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. It got me emotional a few times. And it gave me a lot of like deja vu of thinking about being a kid again, like reliving some things. But my score, 3.7, pretty mediocre, just a bit above average, but not quite groundbreaking.
I'll go.
Yay.
Holding her back.
All right.
I can't stop.
We're either stoking the fire or like she's just gonna.
I've never seen or heard of this movie before. I'll start with this. In the movie's defense, I have never been a very big anime fan at all. The only anime that had ever actually officially caught my attention in a successful way was Pokemon. Other than that, everything has just been just never got me. It's just not my style, plain and simple. Just because it's not my style, though, doesn't mean that I was going to go at this in a unfair, biased way, and I didn't. But I really struggle with this one, though. I struggled to take it seriously. I struggled off the bat because you made your main character incredibly annoying right off the bat, and you lost the entire movie from there on because I didn't care. I just didn't care. This movie was just so painful to watch. It was way too long. This thing could have been wrapped up in under 60 minutes easily. I don't know what we're doing making this almost 2 hours of breaking down the premise. An obsessed teenager who loves somebody, quote unquote, but then wants to turn into a cat to spend more time with them. That's your storyline. And then of course the wanting the whole deal with the devil thing, and that's like a subplot to it and everything. But anyway, this will be an interesting talk. I found myself even having trouble writing notes. I didn't write down one scene, not one. I have no scene that makes me think of the movie, so that's kind of out the window on this one. If there's going to be talking points, I'm hoping someone has them and then I can kind of bounce off that. Otherwise, I have head scratchers, a few nitpicks, but this is like the least I've ever written on a movie. Half the time, I found myself just staring and blinking and trying so hard to take it seriously. I couldn't. 2.5. The animation was beautiful. And that's really what made it this. That's why I even gave it a high as 2.5. I was like, it's stunning. The animation's great. It's got like old school Pokemon-ish vibes, or even, I'll save the fact for later, but Sailor Moon-ish vibes, mixed with clearly newer aged animation skills, like especially when it came to landscaping, and the trees and bushes and things like that. I'm like, ooh, that's actually really skillful stuff there. And that's really what made it mostly a 2.5. The rest was just much like the cats. It was just out the window. Oh, I have two cats that love to watch things with me, and they weren't even fascinated with this thing. There were cats all over the place, and neither of them even sat down to even think twice about it. And I've had one of them that sat down with Spartacus with me and was like, Dad, what's this? Like the whole time, just staring. So that's my little side note. All right, that's it.
Mic drop.
So I keep giggling because I know my brother. And I had called him. I was like, do I have the right movie? And what made it even better is he's like, I haven't seen it yet. And I was like, that's so like, I was dying laughing on my floor. I couldn't even breathe. It was so damn funny. So that's why I think this is so, I'm more excited to hear his thoughts and opinions on this movie. Just because it's going to be hilarious. My thoughts on it. So what a shock. Okay, I have never heard of this movie. And I expected it to at least be translated in English, but it wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, we're gonna read through the movie, which I mean, I'm fine with that.
It had dubbing in English.
No, mine was just like Asian talk.
What?
What?
The whole
I had an
movie.
English version.
No, nobody spoke English in mine.
You need to check your settings, like, when you watch this movie. Like, there's absolutely an English dubbed version.
Did you watch the right movie?
Because that's why I called, and my brother's like, it's the picture has the white cat with the big blue eye. I'm like, yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
It was the one. But yeah, nobody spoke. Okay, well, just me. So yay, that made it extra exciting. So a little bit more weird. But
That's weird because we have the same. Never mind. I can't. I'm not. You know what I mean.
it was all in Japanese or whatever language. So I had to read it all. So that was interesting. It's very interesting. But and once so at first I was like, what are we watching? But then you get sucked into the beauty of it, and then the actual story of it. There is a deep, very deep message, and I can honestly relate to it on a personal level. So once you got past all the weirdness of like the initial shock went through, I actually really enjoyed it. And the music got to me every now and then. Like I really heard the music playing in some scenes. So all in all, you guys, I gave it a 4.8. I'm going to give it a 4.8. I really enjoyed it. And I would watch it again. Maybe in English, that might be nice.
You might as well at this
But
point.
it was-
Like now that you
Check it out.
know.
It was really
Wow, I was nervous at that Jen was like a -5. Hated
I never
it.
know.
You know? Like,
I never know with Jin, and
Never know.
I don't even pretend to guess anymore. I'm like, I think this, but it's probably going to be this, but it's probably that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Cool. All right. I'm liking what I'm hearing. You know, it's not too far off of what my preconceived notions, my preconceived thoughts were. Yeah. So this is obviously also first time watching. Also never heard of it before, and I'm also not like a huge anime person either. I've only seen a few anime films, and I grew up on like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z and Yu-Gi-Oh. That's kind of about it. So I'm with you, Brian. Like anime is still kind of new to me, but I'm opening my eyes and my ears to it little by little. And yeah, I agree. Main character can be a little annoying in the first half. So much so, but I think the film's story really does pay off in the second half. It touches on a lot of topics, a lot of realness, a lot of like internal like brain thinking, and how people who are struggling mentally or have like any sort of like mental, like not issues, but just kind of like trauma, you know, they really put that in like the focus of the story. And so we get to kind of witness, you know, the rise and fall of all of that. So I think the story has a really good message to it. Once you kind of get past the like annoyingness in the beginning. But it's fun, it's weird, it's kind of magical, it's beautiful looking, and yeah, the story is very simple, but it shows a lot about human nature, and I really enjoyed it. But I gave it a 3.9. I think that a lot of the dialogue in the beginning, like the first half of the film, could have been better, or touched on some of those like deeper topics earlier on, and not just in the second half. So the score is lower because of some of the writing, some of the characters and their actions and like how they were written. But otherwise, I think it's a good film. Like I really enjoyed it. I do agree it's a little bit longer. I wish they could have probably cut out like 15 minutes or so. But yeah, 3.9.
Team.
Well, it was an hour and 45 minutes, I think. So like a 90-minute film, I think that would have been solid.
75. I'll give you a bonus 15 off the hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I would say relatively positive reviews. Not terrible coming off of the freaking gold standard Lion King, you know. Holy shit.
Yeah, we're kind of back to our like kind of all over the place a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was we need this was a good palate cleanser after the Lion King. We need something that was gonna just kind of send us off in directions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what, Jen, I'm really glad that you said that you connected with this one, because it is obviously the story of a young girl who's going through a lot. And I'm not going to say I knew a girl that was like had this kind of energy, but I know that like it's there, and it's hard growing up, right? Like even, I think it's easy to connect with any of these characters, and I am looking forward to hearing what you've got to say for as far as your connections, if as much as you'd like to divulge. But this is shaping up to be a pretty good chat. We've got Brian, who is just on deck, ready to voice some strong, hard opinions, and we will we will fight him on them for the fun of it. But this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you for choosing anime. It's not something I'm super familiar with. Like same thing, Dragon Ball Z, a few things here and there, Full Metal Alchemist. Like it's here and there. I'll find something anime, but I'm not really locked into it. So,
well, you guys really need to see Elfen Lied. That's such a good series.
Which one?
Elfen Lied. It's either lead or lied. I don't know how they pronounce it, but it's so good.
I'm down. I'm always trying to find something. I'm not a huge fan of like the anime where it's like all fighting and stuff with like the screaming and blood and explosions and stuff. I'm like, I don't need all of that. Like it's finding that balance of where like Attack on Titan. Well, I tried watching Attack on Titan. I got through I think the first 2 seasons, and I was like, I mean, it's not really my thing. It's not that the story or anything was particularly bad. I'm like, this just really isn't hooking me. It's not for me. So
most anime just weirds me out. I think plain and simple, you get these high-pitched voices with the style, like the art, the art style that they are, and it's just creepy sometimes. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's unique.
I mean, there are even, I'll save some comments. I don't want to go too deep here, but there are some positions that in a Whisker Away that I questioned why we are drawing the way we're drawing. But
the laws of physics and things and stuff like that, and it doesn't exist in this.
Well, yes, I mean that, but I'm also referring to like certain things that were going on with like what was her Moya mayonnaise? What the hell was her name?
Okay, this was a thing that I'm going with. They called her Moogie.
Moogie.
That was this actually.
Muge.
Oh, Muge. She's French. Okay.
Muge. But her actual name is Mio.
Yeah,
Muge is her nickname.
But
I don't want to get into it yet. But like,
I'm not going to get into it. But there are just some. I'm like, what you chose to draw that, like, and I just didn't understand. So there's just certain things about anime that has always just weirded me out, and I don't have like 100% like direct examples, but I can give you the umbrella examples, and it's high-pitched voices. It's normally about teenagers or young girls, young guys, things like that, and they're making weird noises sometimes, and I don't know, a lot of it is just strange.
Yeah, if you want like weird, anime. Watched the first episode of one called Food Wars. I haven't seen past that first episode, but like A Whisker Away is tame compared to Food Wars.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Are we fun fact song ready?
I think so.
All right. Here we go. We've got a film called A Whisker Away. Brian's got fun facts for us today. Matt's over here looking really normal, dressed real plain and kinda lame. I might have to pour myself a whiskey and take a big bite of a kiwi. Now let's hear fun facts about kitties.
Oh,
With the fake out too, like good call, bud. Good call.
A Whisker Away comes out in 2020. Remember that year?
Oh,
Nope.
that's a good year. Good year.
A bit of a blur.
Yeah.
Co-directed, you've got Junichi Sato and Tomotaka Shibayama.
You're actually doing pretty well. Yeah.
Random guesses there.
Yeah.
We of course apologize for any mispronunciations. We're doing our best. We mean
really trying.
Just be confident. Even if you don't know it, just be confident. That's all.
Hashtag white boy trying. So the ratings. GoodFlickas, we're going to be giving this one a 3.73 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Letterboxd is 3.2. IMDb is 6.7 out of 10. Roger Ebert, 2.5 out of 4 stars.
Hmm.
The budget was not disclosed, nor was the worldwide gross. Oscars and Golden Globes, please. As far as awards, it was given a few. As a matter of fact, the amount of awards is also the amount of fun facts that I found, and that was 3. So you have the Anime Trending Awards. It was nominated for Anime Movie of the Year, and it came in 4th place. And it was nominated for Couple or Ship of the Year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, like
But-
relationship.
I don't know.
Like people that like ship a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to put them together.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then yes, and it would be for Hinote and Muge.
Hinode and Muge. Yeah.
Muge, yeah. And then it was also nominated and won for in the Asian Academy Creative Awards for Best Animated Program or Series 2D or 3D.
Cool. At least it won something.
It did win something.
Did you happen to find like its country of origin, or is that just like I could just pull it up on IMDb real fast?
It's
The
probably
who?
Japan, but
I think so, but maybe it's Korean.
This is going to be real short and sweet, guys. Due to COVID, worldwide premiere was done on Netflix. I guess it was sent to come out in theaters, and then COVID-19 broke out with a frenzy, and Netflix said, we'll pick it up and we'll just do worldwide.
Oh, wow.
Probably saved the shit out of that movie, I'll say that.
well, it's funny because it is a Netflix original, so I wonder, like, it wasn't originally a Netflix original, but they probably branded it to be an original after it was made. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sato, one of the directors, is also the director of Sailor Moon. If anyone ever watched that one. And the Jen, you mentioned how much the music kind of stood out to you. It also stood out to me as well. The soundtrack was by Yoroshika. I believe it was a rock band. Yorushika. Yurushika.
Cool.
Is that the same one that was in the Kingdom Hearts game? That name sounds so familiar.
I don't know.
You know what? I've got IMDb pulled up. Let me find that real fast. This was
well,
the music.
Yeah.
That was all the fun facts that were listed via internet about this one. And I looked IMDb, I looked on actual just Google, and I looked under YouTube, and no one's talking. And trust me, like I really did. I tried. I was like, just because I'm not a big fan doesn't mean that I'm not going to do the due diligence, because I didn't want to leave you hanging, Nick. But unfortunately, the internet left me hanging.
No, it's what I meant earlier, that like sometimes you just have films that don't have a whole lot of information about them. Like, yeah,
it's happened to us before. We've landed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like,
yeah, it's not because the movie came out in 2020, just because the film just probably didn't have, interesting information behind the scenes.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick 5-10 minute, go to the bathroom, replenish ourselves, get ready for this deep dive that we're all so excited for. All right, yeah. See you guys in just a few minutes.
You say hi?
Hi, Kiwi. Cute little kitty kisses.
She is the sweetest in all the land. She is the sweetest in all the land. Aren't you?
I can't remember. Is Pickle one of her names?
No.
No. Okay. You listed off a bunch, and I was like, I don't know. Do I remember her ever calling Kiwi Pickle? I don't know.
No, she's beautiful. She's my Schmuggy and Schmuggles. My little babushka. Kiwizzle, Kiwizzle.
But welcome back to Good Flickas, where yes, you can watch The Lion King. Actually, is The Lion King the one that I need to put up?
Yeah. So no, you can't.
No, you will be able to. You
can watch The Lion King when I upload it.
Yeah, real soon.
Is The Lion King not still available on Twitch, or was today the last day for it?
Today's the last day.
Today's last day. Yeah. Well, there you go. So, tune in tomorrow on YouTube, or later this evening if all goes well, and you can watch last week's episode. But go ahead and check out other YouTube videos where we've got other episodes. So yeah, check us out.
We got 5 of them.
Got tons. We're blowing up.
We got 5 on it.
That's a handful,
Yeah.
5. Let's do it. We did it, guys. We fucking did it. But anyway, we are talking about A Whisker Away tonight. And let's start at the beginning. A very good place to start. Or is it? This is just I know we're gonna dive into all of this kind of stuff. That's really just a joke for your guys' sake. I don't have any problems with this intro other than the fact that it's very abrupt. There's no context, and it's very confusing. But that's also very much this style of storytelling. You're dropped a lot of breadcrumbs along the way, and you're meant to kind of figure it out and make a lot of inferences yourself. So once I think, Brian, you kind of mentioned like the struggle of this movie at times. The start was a hard one for me to kind of get into, but I knew what I was getting into. I was like, okay, it's going to be one of these. Got it. Because I never really know what to expect when I get into like any kind of anime. What kind of story it's going to be. So, but buckled in. What were your guys' initial reactions to kind of the intro, the start to this film, the kick in the ass, if you will?
What happened again?
So you can hear the conversation with her and her mother at this festival, which I believe is essentially her saying like, I'm leaving, or I want to come back. I can't see. This is the problem. I don't
But-
remember the details, but she was upset with her mother and she runs off.
There was even a point before then. It just the movie kicks off in the most creepiest way. It's pitch dark.
Mhm.
You don't see anything. You just see like Netflix presents or whatever, and then you hear the anime voice going, and you hear something along the lines of like, "I just want to say I love you," and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And then it jumps into this cat-looking like horror movie type going on, and I'm like, "What did Nick get us involved in?" Like within 2 minutes. 50 questions go through your head. Like, what am I watching? What am I listening to? What is this creepy voice? And who's about to get stabbed? Because it's such a strange intro. And honestly, it means nothing to the movie.
It means everything to the movie.
A row of cats, and then you're in the place with the parents, and then you're at school. And it's so jumpy, and you have zero context.
I agree. The timeline is especially jumpy. It's like, wait, how far is when did this happen? Was that recent?
It's like, is this a flashback? Is this a memory? Oh no, it's not a memory. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you dreaming? No, you're not dreaming. You're in this? I don't know. I still don't know.
It's very confusing at the start of like the actual timeline.
I just want to say I love you. No, just off.
It wasn't so high. Your voice is much higher pitched. Go ahead, Nick.
No, it was not.
I mean, Brian's not too far off, but I did have a problem with the intro. It was hard to follow. What I was thinking, but what I was trying to remember the intro as being, and what I think it should have been, is that scene when Muge and all the kids are walking to school, and Muge does like the sunrise butt attack or whatever she called it with Hinode, and like that is where I think the film should have started, was like around there, like throw us right into the sauce of like what these characters are setting the story up for. Because clearly from that scene, we could tell that Muge has really intense feelings, right? Like she's the only girl that would do a sunrise butt attack to Hinode to get his attention. And so everything before that, it just kind of mumble jumbles a little bit. Go ahead, Matt.
The beginning would have been better if they started off that.
Yeah.
You make an excellent point, actually, like from a storytelling standpoint. We see what was her name again? Muge.
Muge. Muge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we initially see Muge in distress, crying, and like not her best, and then we immediately see her with that kind of energy, right? Like she's very positive and happy. She's completely different, and I think if they had started us where like just right there and used the whole argument at the festival, finding the mask seller as a flashback through storytelling of like she has her first interaction with the mask seller on the street, and like they allude to it, and it's like, I mean, anime flashback, do it. That would be a perfect time for it. But that would mean that we get to meet Muge at that energy, that like this is her positive. That's how we would first see her. That's how we would know her. We'd be like, that's her. Like that is who she is. That's the energy she's got. So when it becomes the moments at the end where we really find out what she's doing and masking what's inside, it hits that much harder. Or it's like we always saw her with her mask. When it's revealed that she's hurting and in so much pain, it's a bigger impact for us because it's hidden from us for most of the movie until we kind of draw our own conclusions through the storytelling as it did anyway. So I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you where like some editing changes, especially the one like starting there, I think that has a stronger impact on the story. That's probably like my biggest issue with this movie, is that although it has a really good story, and this is where I think it's like it's the lost in translation kind of stuff where some things just don't translate as well. There's nuance that gets missed, and it leaves us, an American audience, at times watching this thinking like, what the hell's going on? Like I wonder if there are certain things. So like, for first example is like the names. Like we're not sure what to call her. Muge, what's her real name?
Her real name is Mio, Miyo.
Mio Muge, right? Like she's got two names. We hear her referred to as both interchangeably with no context as to like, okay, so who is she? And now you talk on like she's called Taro. Like, okay, so she's got three names. Like, it's very confusing, and it's, to me, it's not clear that these are nicknames versus names. You know, it's not like you have a guy named William and you're calling him Billy. You know, like that's what I feel is like the kind of thing that's happening there is like I'm missing in the translation of the names of what's named to nickname, and I'm not realizing the familiarity, hard word, I gave up, with the friends. You know, like it's there's some things that are lost there on me. Nick, you had your hand up first, and
yeah, I just kind of want to go over the name thing. I agree. I was a little confused with the name calling, but I had to use context clues to figure out of like, oh, so Muge's friends call her Muge, but then Muge's family calls her Mio, right? And then there's even one point much later in the film where Muge is talking to somebody in a car, and he calls her Sasuke. And I was like, Sasuke? And I was like, is that her last name? And you find out later that Sasuke is like the family's last name. And so I was like, wow, she's called 3 different names in human form. And so yeah, I agree. It's like that I think it's a cultural thing, for you to be called like a nickname or called by your last name or your biological name by like different groups of people in your life. And like maybe in Japanese culture, like that's just kind of normal. Whereas here we don't really do that so often.
I think we do. I mean, where I grew up, we were always calling people by their last name or nicknames because like from their last name. So I mean, like most people I knew, I never referred to them by their first name. It was some sort of nickname. And some people had multiple nicknames.
Yeah, but maybe for like a movie context, I think it might not work.
Yeah, well,
because the writers are acting like we know these characters already before the story even starts, when we don't.
Yeah.
Like if it was a TV show and you learned about these names like in the first couple episodes, and then you kind of know that later on, but when you're kind of thrown into it, you're like, we don't know any of these names. So yeah, that is a flaw. They should have kind of, because even some characters later on say like, oh yeah, Muge is what her friends call her, like when she's missing. Like we should have gotten that in the beginning so that the confusion is cleared up. Go ahead, Jen.
Well, now I'm curious. So, in the English version that you guys watched, did they not explain what Muge stood for?
Not that I don't remember. They may, but if they did, I missed it. Here's something. Sorry, just one thing, Jen. The thing that I noticed, because I had the English version and the subtitles. Let me know if you guys saw this too. The spoken words do not match the written words.
Oh yeah, that's common.
So for some reason that was very confusing for me. Is like when I first started, it's like I'm hearing words, I'm reading different words. Like this is a problem. So it's like I'm one or the other. So, but I feel like reading the words versus hearing the words, you're getting a different story.
Yeah, because they said it multiple times in the version I watched, and they explained like what it meant. It was like a nickname. And I wouldn't say her friends call her that. It was a bullied name. And it was basically like saying like, I forget what I'll pull it up. Hold on, I'll get it. But it's basically like calling her like over dramatic, like you're a crazy person, you know? And that's what Muge stood for. So
really?
Spot on.
So for me,
fitting.
it was very obvious that it was a nickname, and I'm kind of glad I didn't get the English version. I got more context, I think. So I wonder how much of a difference there will be. And anytime I hear it, I'll pipe up and see if we can.
Yeah, I had no idea. I knew it was a nickname, but I had no idea. I had no idea that Muge actually had a definition to it.
Is it okay? I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
So here's one of the biggest flaws for the movie with me is you can't have your main character someone that is super annoying and not going to catch the viewer's attention and then expect the movie to work out well. Mihu, Mugi, Majaya, whatever we want to call her, came in so hot, so aggressive, and so annoying that I checked out so quick. Maybe because I've actually seen personalities like this in my field, especially on 5150s. It's very, very common. And I'm like, nope. This bitch is bad shit crazy. I mean, the whole like butt pickup thing, like I don't even know if that's not going to work on any guy. And if it does, congratulations. I don't want to know that guy. but I'm just like, I was like, how do you expect him to even think that he's going to be into that? Like you just slammed into him. And you are just acting like this beyond psychotic stage 5 clinger. And it's just like red alert on so many levels. And I'm like, but this is your main character. And now you're going to bring me on a story about her personal dilemmas and her personal battles and so on and so forth. And you want me to care. But I have already emotionally checked out within I think it was like 7 minutes on my first pause. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a rough journey. If I'm already checking out at like 7 minutes, I know that we're going to be, it's going to be rough because once again, it's the main character that in the story that you're trying to get me wrapped up and involved in. And to me, it was just a bad move. Like it was just way too over the top. Tone it down just a little bit, maybe. And we might be talking. I don't know. I saw hands in hands. So who was it?
I'll let Jen go, then I'll go after.
Yeah, I have the name. So it stands for Miss Ultra Gaga and Enigmatic.
Oh, that's what that was. Oh, okay.
They called her that, but it wasn't clear that it was an acronym. Like that was the explanation of the acronym. That's annoying.
Okay, so
that's clear as hell. Like when you say it that way, it's like, well, yeah, that's obvious now, but really missed it.
Well, okay, so this is what I was going to talk about. My talking point was going to be, I forget what movie we did. It was a while ago, maybe a year ago, but I had talked about the character type of the manic pixie dream girl, and I know Matt knows about this, but the two of you, the Walshes, did not. I can't remember what film it was for. If Matt, maybe you remember.
It's making me Scott Pilgrim.
I thought it was like Stardust or something. Was it Stardust?
I wasn't part of that.
I don't know, but I think Muge is like the Japanese version of the manic pixie dream girl. Like really over the top, very like physically animated, like maybe like a hopeless romantic, doesn't have boundaries, right? Like she is this type of character that she stands out from the crowd, and while that can come off as annoying to some people, I won't mention names, but
she's the type of character that you look under her nose to see if there's any white dust.
Well, that's the thing is most of the characters in this film all think she's batshit crazy. but somehow Hinode eventually does fall in love with her. So like, is she batshit crazy? Or is Hinode just like blindsided, like blinded by it?
She evolves throughout the film. The
Sure.
person at the end of the movie was not the same girl in the beginning. I will say that.
And Hinode also evolves too. Like he's not the same person as well. Like they both have an arc. By the time they're at the end. Go ahead, Matt.
For what I think is interesting, it's not so much that she is batshit crazy. Like it's what really made me curious was what makes Hinode so amazing that she is this infatuated, this in love with this guy. And like throughout the movie as it's going on, like it takes forever for me to be like, really, well, like what is so special about this guy? Like, I mean, you get that he's going through some stuff. There's connection there. Sure. He's into pottery. So he's artistic. He wants to be creative, but he's, like, okay, like you get so many little pieces, but you never really get to know Hinode. And he's always kind of gloomy. He's always kind of upset. Like, and that's why I think at the end, when like the whole thing is like, yes, I went so up and above and extra with this because I'm trying to give it to you. Like I can see that you're hurting and I'm trying to give you that extra thing because I don't want you to feel that way. I want to share whatever this extra shit that I can to feed your good karma and happy juices so that you're not so sad. But there was like, for the longest time, I didn't understand the motivation for why so intense? Why do you love him so much? Like, even as Taro, like you're not doing a ton, like you're doing cat stuff. Like he's talking to you like I talk to pets too. Like, I mean, I don't know. I didn't quite get the motivation throughout, but ultimately payoff. So I think it was Nick.
I think it was me.
I thought it was
me first.
I think it was Nick and then Jen.
Sorry, I might have an answer for you, Matt. I think for Muge at first, it was probably physical attraction because they do a lot of like close-up shots of Hinode's face to kind of like show like the perspective of Muge just looking kind of like dazed in his eyes. But when Muge becomes Taro, she's actually like the conversation is one-sided every time Taro is with Hinode, that she's learning so much about his life and like his struggles, so much so that she wants to help. Like she does care, and she feels helpless obviously because she's a cat, like you said. Like she can't do physically anything to actually help, but every time Taro then becomes human again, Muge wants to be able, like now she's gone past the just like physical attraction. Now she's mentally attracted to him, and like that just builds on like the love that she has for him even more. And so I think that that's what the motivation was. Like she understood, that he wanted to keep the pottery business alive, that he wanted to go to a different school that his parents did not want him to go to. And like you said, like Hinode had this gloomy kind of personality when he wasn't like around his friends or at school. He was kind of like the cool, like low key kind of kid. But when he was at home, he was actually sad himself, and Muge just wanted to be, I guess, that rock for him.
I mean, I didn't get the impression he did much at school either. He seemed very shut down and stoic.
Sure, but like he wasn't expressing like his thoughts at school. He was very just like plain face. But at home, he would have exposition of things that he was talking about going on in his life, because he just thinks he's just saying it to himself and a cat. But little does he know the cat is actually, also listening to. So I don't know if that helps like clear up what the motivation was for Muge a little bit, but maybe we'll find out more later. Go ahead, Jen.
So I have a thought, and I'm trying to find the right words for it. I don't want to say that they were each other's mirror, because that's not it, nor like a reflection. So I keep going back to like a door. There's a door that each of them have. And what the attraction with Muge and Hinode is that they are alike, but he handles himself in such a way that she doesn't know how, and vice versa. So it's like, that's why they drive each other, or that's why Hinode thinks she's crazy, but she's giving him something that he needs, and vice versa. And that's why that attraction is so strong, because she's drawn to that, because it's like, I don't get it. We're the same person, but he has something that, like, he's everything that I tried to be and failed at. I couldn't do it. It's not in me. It's not in my character. So she's like, well, clearly I need him. and maybe young, that's it. Like, I don't know if they'll get married or anything like that, but she needs him in that moment. And then as you see later on in the movie, Hinode comes to that conclusion himself. He's like, well, she's like always happy. Like, she's going through all this shit, but she's always happy. She doesn't show it. And like, he's starting to see like, well, I'm kind of drawn to that. So it's like whatever they lacked in, they found it in each other. And that's why that connection was so strong. So strong.
Almost like opposites attract, sort of.
Yeah, kind of, but on like a deeper, I think, not so superficial level.
Yeah, well, opposites, like mentally, like they were mentally like the opposite.
Yeah,
I like thinking of it as like a puzzle piece fitting. It's like
yeah,
you're connected. You're connected and you fit.
yeah.
Like when Muge is always happy, right? She's told at one point by her parents to like, was it her parents that told her to like take off like that fake smile, or was it Hinode that said that? Somebody told her while she was in her bedroom. It was a bedroom scene.
It was her stepmom.
Was there a stepmom?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, why are you always smiling? Like, you're weird. Like, you're being weird. Why are you always smiling? And then
You didn't say that. She was a decent stepmom. Come on.
And Muge just kind of went on this like monologue rant of always feeling like she needs to put on a smile even when she's like in her darkest times, right? But Hinode didn't know that. Hinode just saw her as always being like positive and happy all the time, even though Muge was, just putting on a smile just to put on a smile, to hide and push down how she really feels inside, which we learn later as well. Go ahead, Matt.
I just want to say that this movie does a really great job of like visualizing the metaphor of how we wear masks to disguise ourselves, to hide what's inside. So it's like, that's one thing that I really appreciate about these types of stories, is like, it's kind of handling something that's kind of heavy. It's hard. But they do it in a way that's like, it's easily relatable and you can connect to on a pretty surface level, but also keeping it fantastical and entertaining so it doesn't feel like a lecture.
Yeah, I mean, like, the mask is all about the metaphor, right? Like, it's easy. It was easy for Muge to become a cat because she was feeling like accepted by Hinode to be around him and whatnot.
Well, the initial reason for wearing the mask or taking the mask was to escape, to not be a human anymore. She wanted to be off of this world. So it was like, okay, I can give up my life and be a cat for a while.
Yeah, doesn't she have like? Oh, good.
So she has the mask and she goes around. That's how she meets Hinode. That's how she finds out. Like, that's where they have this big magical moment inside these pillar things, where it's like she had this huge connection with him. It was the first time that they met, and she was in cat form. And that becomes her motivation of wearing this mask, right? Like she gets this mask and now she finds a reason for like, okay, I'm going to keep pretending to be happy. Everything's fine. Everything's great. And it just escalated and built from there.
Yeah, she eventually talks about how she like every day wished that the world would just end, right? Like she was, I couldn't tell if it was her like being suicidal in that sense, or that she just wished that everything would stop, at once.
Let's just say it's up for interpretation. I do think that there's a lot of really good scenes in here too, where they do a great job of, there's no real context for it. It's meant for you to kind of explore of like, well, what does that mean? So like when she's eating whatever, I can't remember what dish it is. I think it's like pork or something. She's like, yeah, this is really good. Like, she's like out loud, she's saying, oh, this is really good. And she's enjoying it. But in her head, she's saying, why is this so good? Why do I like this so much? It's like, I'm supposed to not like her. I'm not supposed to like her food. Like, it's not supposed to be this good. It's not my mom's food. Like she's having this internal struggle of what to do, what to think. And also like, now I'm starting to like things about her. What's going on? So like, there's a lot happening in these moments, but there's no real context or actual explanation for them. Good, Nick.
Yeah. Like the scene that reminds me of is when her stepmom makes those boiled potatoes.
Yeah.
And like she has like the flashback memory of enjoying the boiled potatoes, but then in her current timeline, she's not enjoying them. And then when she sees Hinode next at school and he's sharing his boiled potatoes with her, now she really likes boiled potatoes. No.
And these ones are better. They're like the way her mom makes them.
Well, yeah.
They're salty. Okay, this was actually something.
Oh, yeah.
Hinode's got salty potatoes. I love that moment so much just because it's hilarious. And yes, I think everybody should be embarrassed in that moment, but also it's like, that's such an innocent child thing to do. And of course it's embarrassing. Like, why are you yelling about my potatoes? Shut up.
But she was saying salty as like a good thing though, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But he took it as a bad thing.
So another thing with the visuals of this one is like when you see how her stepmom is making the potatoes, they look bland. They don't have that kind of color from the flashback. And when she sees Hinode's and they've got that color and she's like, oh, just like them. It's like they visualize bland potatoes versus flavorful potatoes.
Yeah.
But those look like they would be sticky rather than salty. So I wonder if there was a translation. So instead of saying sweet potatoes, it was like salty potatoes. It was probably something else.
Well, they do say sweet potatoes at one point.
Do they?
I think. Yeah. I thought I heard sweet potatoes at one point.
I don't know. Maybe we got to watch this one again. But yeah, I like that there was that detail of you could even visualize the difference of this is the same dish, but it's not made the same.
Right.
The details, wonderful details. We've already highlighted or commented on the animation, but like Nick, I know you've seen a couple of Studio Ghibli films and like the food is a big deal in that stuff. And I think that's what sparked your other movie club, Traver, where you guys watch movies and eat the food from them.
Oh, Foods and Flicks? Yeah.
Trainer. Yeah, God, it's one of those nights, guys. Yeah, like I know that there's kind of been a trend because of Studio Ghibli animations where the food is so wonderfully animated. It's like, yeah, that's
like towards the end when they're at the big tree, like the festival, and you see them like walking, you see oh my god, who was it? Those it was Hinode and someone else. They're walking like down like the wooden shops, like the restaurant shops inside of the tree. And you see like a sign it's like an outline of a mouse, like for cats to eat. It's like, okay, like they're serving mice here. That's interesting.
That was a cool moment. We're jumping. Okay, Should we
Dude,
rate
we're
it?
jumping all over the place.
should we
This,
rein it
this
in
is
real
this is
fast?
a different pod this week.
No, I like that. I like that it's all chaos, but like this feels like a good thing because we're getting towards end stuff, like the real juice of this story. This feels like a good time. Let's do scene of the movie. Anybody's got one?
I have one.
Yeah.
It's not like a real big thing, but it's my favorite scene.
Yeah.
I'll go first if you guys are thinking, or if you have anything.
I have a scene. I don't have a name for it. But
mine's not super creative. I just called it what it is. I called it cat landing.
Cat landing.
It's a little vague.
Is this where she's not an actual cat? She jumps off the fucking.
I know she jumps a lot.
She jumps off the second floor thing through a fucking tree. Like, is that the one? Is that the one?
No, it's not that one.
I got some comments on that scene.
That thing stuck with me.
It's not that one, but I'll describe it once if you guys have titles or scenes.
I can't remember how he actually appears. But like it's the first time we get a good conversation with the mask seller, like when she's a cat. I wanted to call it like cat out of the hat, but I don't think it like pop. I don't think he pops out of a hat. I feel like he comes out of something because he sinks into a pod at one point. Like
No, you could call him the Super Mario cat.
He freaking drops into that pod and just disappears. Like the fuck. But yeah, yeah. That scene in particular just locked me. But, sorry, I don't know how else to describe that scene.
Cat in the hole.
I can't.
Cat in the hole. Well, I mean, like cats have that specialty. Like they can like you've seen videos of like kittens going underneath doors. Right, you're like, oh, like how did that cat just fit underneath that door? It's because their like skeleton is like an inch, and they have like 3 inches of hair. You know, it's like I think the mask seller, they were just playing on the trope of like cats getting into really small spaces, but the irony is that he's a fat chunk of a cat.
Yeah, you chunky boy.
Matt, you can call it "Cat's Got Your Pipe."
Cat's Got Your Pipe. I was the other title I was thinking was like the Jester Cheshire.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
That just kind of pops out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he's all like laughy and shit too. Like it's like he's a little creepy. I don't want to steal scene, but like I do want to talk about this guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Jen or Brian, do you guys have scenes at all? Or the scene?
I hate you scene.
Oh god. Yeah.
Oh, I know which one that one is.
The exact opposite of 10 Things I Hate About You and making me like react the same way.
No. First time ever I wrote down 0 scenes in a movie.
There's not like one scene that made you laugh, not one scene that like visually stuck out to you.
Not in this case, to where if someone's like a Whisker Away, what scene pops up? There won't be. Like there just will not be a scene that pops up in my head.
I watched that movie.
Blue eyes.
Yeah.
The big blue eyes.
The big blue eyes.
Yeah, when Taro's like looking up and like it's all glowy and like the eyes are twinkling. Like you don't like that?
I mean, that's a moment. I want to call it a scene.
It's
a scene can be a moment.
Something.
All right, I'll give you something. We don't need to talk about it. So here's your something. Yeah, I think it was the only time I maybe smirked at the movie. It's when Taro, so she's a cat, and it's when Hinote says "I love you" to Taro. And this is her first time hearing those words, and then her reaction as a cat was pretty comical. It was like I don't even know how it like they did like big eyes, but like they made the cat like all like shaky and everything, like just so
Teasing, though.
ecstatic that she heard the words. So
Okay.
that's your moment that you're getting from me.
For cat landing, it's the scene where she's I can't remember if she's running down the roof or falling off the roof, but
Oh,
she
oh,
essentially falls off the roof like
Mm.
as human form, and then you see her put on the mask, and then the camera cuts to the ground. I was like, oh, she's gonna land as a cat and like and be on her four legs and go like this, because cats always land with their feet down.
this
And
is
that's
when
why I
you.
was like, oh, so she's gonna put on the mask so that she'll land properly as a cat. Yeah, I just thought like that scene made me laugh, and I was like, what a clever use of picking a great opportunity to turn into a cat. Because like you, I don't know if you guys have seen the meme of like if you duct tape buttered toast on the back of a cat and you drop it, does it just keep spinning like before it hits the ground? Do you get that idea?
Because the
What?
butter side of toast always lands on the floor, and cats always land face up. So nobody can hit the ground because nobody is falling.
Oh my god.
Nobody can land on their back. So
There's a lot of these like cat humor, like very subtle cat humor and cat tropes in this film.
I did like that moment. It's the preceding moment that bothers me, where it's like, why are you goofing around on the top of this roof? Like, you almost lost your mask 3 times already. Oh, there it goes. It's like, no shit.
Yeah.
But she does, like, what she does is just so casually leaps off with it, and it's like, wow, this girl is nuts. But I also love that it kind of shows that, like, just her personality and like who she's becoming, because she jumps out of I know I'm jumping to the scene, but she jumps off that freaking roof through, like, no hesitation. This girl is just like, she's balls to the walls and she's impulsive. Um, but God, what an awesome landing. And I love how she's surrounded by people, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a cat!" And she's just immediately like, "Get the fuck away."
Yeah.
So a lot of fun little cat tropes. Um, now I did. Speaking of cat tropes, because I think it's around this scene where it happens. She avoids a tabby. Like, I think even like in human form, she sees the cat, and her friend says, "I thought you didn't like cats." I'm like, depends on the cat and the day. Um, is it? I don't. It may be shown when the mask seller changes from mask seller form to true cat form. I think he's the tabby that's walking around, but it's not really explained. But that was just like a
Yes.
weird. That is them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he has like a tie or a hat or something on, or a collar.
Well, I mean, when you actually see him like walking around as cat, the
Yeah.
mask seller, that's what he looks like. But when he's in his cat form, is he that fat tabby?
Yes. Yeah. Because the tabby's wearing like some sort of like a burgundy like tie or collar or bandana or something. There's something around its neck.
I don't think it had any.
I think the tabby has
Uh,
like some spots on it too.
I think it was a scarf.
Is it a scarf?
I don't think it had any like clothing. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just that was something with that tabby cat where like they kind of acknowledge it as a thing, but like it doesn't have any sort of real payoff. It's just like, yeah, that's just the mask seller, like, Avi.
I did have a suspicion, like the first time you see that tabby on, it's like laying on a roof or like a fence line or something. I was like, you're drawing a little bit too close of attention to it. Like it should be significant, and then you learn later that what the connection is. So I felt like that could have been a little bit better.
Obvious cat is obvious.
Yeah. All right. Jen, do you want to talk about your scene? I hate you.
Yeah, the particular like part that sticks out to me is when the guys that were bullying her get shoved with the desk.
That was funny.
That was good.
And then like they do the back and forth, and he's like, "Don't you see? Like this is embarrassing me," and it's like, "I freaking hate you." And then the guy's still under the desk, and he gets stepped on.
And then like the desk gets pushed.
Yeah.
I think like as like Yori, I can't remember if it's like Yori or Muge, but as they're running out of the classroom, they like push the desk on him like as he's down even more.
Yeah.
That's Yuri.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I know it was a more of a dramatic scene, but I just remember those kids getting their ass beat with a desk.
Hey, I'm just gonna say he had it coming.
Oh,
for sure.
Thank you, Matt. I was like, someone catch on this one,
dude. I can't not acknowledge a Chicago reference if it's made. It's not a choice. It's a mistake I made by putting it on my body. But I love this scene because it's a stereotypical scene. Like this has been done a billion times of somebody's reading the embarrassing note in front of everybody. Like it's been done time and time again. And this just happened to be one of those times where like, as I'm watching it, I'm still not sure how it's going to end. I'm still not sure how people are going to react. And I liked that about this. I didn't know what to expect. Like I knew what was happening. I knew what it meant, but I didn't know how people were going to react. And I loved that I got to be kind of surprised because there's a moment where even the bullies are like, well, shit, have we gone too far? Well, we've gone this far. We got to keep going. And it's like, you can tell that like there's even a little bit of reluctance, but it's like we've bitten off more than we can chew and we can't stop now. And then you watch Muge's reaction and she's just like, God, I just pictured her face and it's literally heartbreaking of tears running down her face as she's just trying to be like, do you really mean that? This is like, I mean, I think that's the first and really only moment that you see her mask is breaking. You know, like she is trying to put on this happy face, but like you can't hide those tears. You can't hide that pain through a smile. You can't. She runs. And it's powerful. It's emotional. It's devastating. I was tearing up. God, like it was hard to watch in the best kind of way. You know, like you never like seeing somebody in pain, but this was a well executed scene. And thank God for the little moments of comedy to kind of lighten it up where like Yuri jumping on that desk and just hearing him like, like I was like, yes, that's what I needed. And what a great friend. I wish we actually got a little bit more with Yuri just because it seems like she's got her own shit going on. And like, we don't really learn much about her. And I think she'd be interesting just as a side character to know a little more about. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, what I think is very significant is that close-up shot of Muge's face when she's crying and like it looks like she has like a smile on her, like she's trying to hold it together. Right. That image gets basically stuck in Hinode's brain because he flashes back to that like several times later in the film. Like he vividly remembers how her reaction to all of this, and he probably felt terrible later saying I hate you because she essentially embarrassed him with the letter and his friends, just like the combination of everything that happened. Like he felt embarrassed, and then to like pile on a I hate you, you know, on top of it all. It's like that. I think that was probably like the emotional peak for them in terms of like their lowest of their low was I hate you. Because I mean, like, what's worse than I hate you? You know, like I really don't know if there's anything worse than saying I hate you to somebody.
I don't believe so. It's pretty hurtful.
I'm disappointed.
And
no, that one's not fun to hear.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like especially like from like parents or something.
I think context, absolutely. That one can be devastating. Like, I'm not mad, just
I'm
disappointed.
just disappointed. Yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
But I feel like disappointment comes from like authority, like parents and teachers and like professors, managers and stuff like that. I hate you is more of like an emotional phrase. Like if that comes from like a family member, a loved one, a sibling, like the emotional impact of I hate you, I think would be stronger than like a teacher or a parent saying they're disappointed.
I feel like I'm disappointed. Like that's a gut punch. It's like you feel guilt. That's really what it is you feel guilt. But when somebody says they hate you, like there's no way not to take that personally. It's like, what is it about me that you hate? Is it the way I look? Is it something I said? Is it, something I did? What is it about me that you hate? Like that's personal. Like, and it doesn't really leave. It's broad and leaves no room for much interpretation. It's like, I hate you. What's the movie that just came out with, oh God, what's the hell are their names? Oh God, it's the one where like the best friends and like all of a sudden the guy is like, I don't want to be your best friend anymore. I hate you. It's like, what? Why? Colin Farrell, and
It's a movie that came out recently.
yeah, like last year or something.
Hey,
I'm trying to think if anyone's ever told me that they hate me. I don't think I've had that
The
experience.
Banshees of Inisherin with Brendan Gleeson, because I can never remember his name. Yes. You guys may recognize him as Mad Eye Moody.
oh yeah. Okay.
So yeah, the movie came out and like the whole, at least like the advertising for this movie was like these guys who have been best friends for the longest time. All of a sudden, one day, his guy rolls up and he's just like, "Hey, stay the fuck away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. We're not friends anymore. Bye." It's like, what? What did I do? Why? Like it's that's kind of the thing. Like with hate is like it's personal. It's mental. It's all of the things. Like it hits you in such a way that like, or you can just be like, okay, you hate me. Whatever. Brush it. You know what I mean? Like hate is just finite. It's a this is how I feel, but it's up to you how you respond to it ultimately. Whereas I'm disappointed, that's more like that's trying to elicit a specific response. It's trying to make you feel guilty. It's you should be trying to make me happy. You should be trying to make me proud. Instead, you disappointed me. Damn. Oh, man. I want to be better. I'm sorry. Skills.
Yeah, but Hinode never actually did hate her.
No, he deflected.
No.
Just like he let out his pain.
Yeah.
He let out his pain and it was misdirected and he knew it. He knew it.
Yeah, I think that scene, Jen, is probably like the most powerful scene of the film between the two of them. So I don't know. I think that's a good contender for the scene of the film. I know you specifically talked about the desk falling on the bully, but but just all of it in that scene. Yeah,
a desk wouldn't have been pushed onto him if the rest of the scene hadn't happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad that he got the desk.
He was kind of a jerk.
The desk sentence.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, that's good.
Oh,
that's a good. Yep. Okay, that's the winner. That was the desk sentence.
Oh, great! What a title.
That was good. That was good.
Brian, what was your moment again? Your scene moment?
Just move on. Stop trying to make it happen, Nick. Just move on.
No, I was just trying to remember what it was, but whatever.
It's when he tells Tara that he loves her.
Oh yeah. That is a good scene too. Yeah.
Watching the cat be told it's loved and spasming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's like such a you had brought up Sailor Moon, like that is such a classic response. I had only seen a few episodes, but I remember like that was kind of a staple with them of like if it was epic embarrassment, and like a lot of anime does this too, where it's like the giant, like the big old squiggly face and the eyes are like and
Yeah.
the giant sweat thing, like
In the quiver.
yeah, like all those like weird little crazy faces and stuff. Like that was a staple of Sailor Moon. So that felt like a bit, not so much a callback, but like a similarity, representation. So
I also love like when they're angry, they do like this. These are those are like the eyes that they always do for angry eyes.
Oh yeah.
Or like or at least
like
their
slanted.
eyebrows. Yeah. Or that's right. It's reverse. That's right.
yeah, I'm like, why would this is more like surprise, like
Yeah.
angry. I'm angry. And that's what made me think of like Angry Kitty.
Yeah.
So my scene, I don't even remember what I had said. It was meeting the mask seller. And the only reason like this one really sticks with me is he gives you all of the information you really need as far as like what these masks do. And it sent me on a freaking whirlwind of like, okay, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? So like I was really thinking about these masks and what the implications were. And this is why the mask seller is such an interesting character for me, is Brian, you had brought him up as the devil. And I'm not to say that that's not a perfectly rational and agreeable interpretation of him. But what I find very interesting about his character is a lot of things seem to happen by design. And it almost feels like trickster God kind of stuff of like, I'm gonna send you on this trial. I'm gonna send you through this struggle for the greater good. You're going to learn the lesson out of this. And it's all by design. I mean, even when it gets to the point of like the very end where it's like, yes, I'm going to take your soul. It's mine, huh? Like he drags it out. It's like, this could be mine, done. And it's even when they're fighting him and like they're like, there's a moment when he's being cat piled, because I can't say dog piled. When he's being cat piled on, they show him at the bottom of it. Dude is smiling. Like there's so many moments where it's like he's creepy, he scares me, he's unhinged. But I also feel like this could be by his design. Like he's doing this on purpose. He
definitely is.
It makes it all so interesting.
I think a more comparable villain to him, aside from, like I said, deal with the devil. So I wasn't really comparing him to the devil, but it was more of like, this is definitely, you're making like the deal with the devil concept, right? Someone wants something in exchange. This is it, but they don't really know. They don't know the fine print of the unseen contract, right?
Yes.
But I think the more comparable villain in this case is probably Ursula, where it's, Little Mermaid wants to walk on land, so it's something that she can't do and she wants to have. Ursula wants her voice, and so, hey, in exchange for that, I'll let you walk on land, but you don't really know what you're fully getting into. And I think it's kind of like the same thing as what happened here.
I mean, if you're going to go with those kinds of comparisons, like you could say Dr. Facilier from, Princess and the Frog, but like those are evil characters. Whereas I don't think that this guy is inherently evil. Like those characters essentially die, they're villains. They have their motivations, where it's like you said with like you deal with the devil kind of thing of like, I'm just saying I don't think they're one for one comparisons, but I agree with you in the sense of like, yes, you're getting into a deal that's not exactly what you think it is.
But you're saying that I don't remember his name. The mask seller, I think is what they called him, is more of like a fire starter.
Sure.
Is that what you're going with? Where he's like, I'm gonna give them what they want, but then I'm going to kind of direct it in my own way by creating my own rules and essentially lighting my own fires.
I mean, sure. This is it's up for the interpretation of him, because in this instance of Mugi, Muge. I know it's so many names, and I'm working on it. But Muge, in the case of Muge, it feels like his plan is. It could be, yes, he generally just wants the lifespan because he gets to live longer. But it also feels like it could
I
be
think that's his
because
goal,
she needs to
yes.
learn something. He needs help, and like he sees this opportunity and creates it. But what's interesting is that there are the other cats that have already been trapped. He has gotten their lifespans. So he does have, I would say, a darkness to him. So he's not just some like happy-go-lucky, everybody's going to have a happy ending god. He is a trickster, and he does want these lifespans. So it's what are his motivations? Is he setting this all up so that she can learn this ultimate lesson and hopefully grow from it and become better, and Hinode as well? Or is he just a true villain that's trying to take their lives, trying to take their lifespans and make them cats?
I think it's the latter. It's the ultimate game of cat and cat.
I don't think so. I appreciate the joke, but like I don't think so. I just respectfully disagree. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought this up, because I was struggling a little bit to find out like who was the antagonist in this film, and the one character that I could think of was the mask seller, and I sort of think that he was the one that had like some sort of like a moral compass, like a moral compass, to sort of like teach lessons to I guess customers. I don't know, but then like you also bring up this fact that like he's also in this business to extend his life, right? But not like so evil that he's blatant about it. So it's almost like he is a mask himself, right? Like he doesn't want to give the full story of what his intentions are. So yeah, it's hard to interpret like whether or not he is like a good guy or a bad guy or a mix of both or what, or if he is the villain of the film, you know. Yeah, I still don't know the answer, but I was thinking about this while watching the film. I don't know who was first.
I don't know either.
That was me. So, if I'm understanding Matt and Nick correctly,
No.
it sounds like to me you are thinking you're thinking that the Mask Seeker is kind of following more of the playbook of, let's say, Jigsaw, where he monitors his victims. He sees that there's room for the punishment. He doesn't actually kill his victims, but he puts them in a position to where it's up to them if they're going to live or die.
Not exactly, but I'm closer.
Is it closer to that's where we're leaning towards here? Because I mean, in a way, as if I'm looking at him as Jigsaw, I can actually kind of see that, to where he's going to, he wants the extra lives, and if he gets it, that might be a bonus to him. But ultimately, he's letting them kind of make their own decisions in their own minds. And again, that's exactly, he put him in Jigsaw himself and put his victims in very difficult situations, but you unpack all of them, they all had a way to survive.
Well, can I just say, just jump in? Yeah. I think that the mask seller is very straightforward with how the whole mask system works. Like he's not hiding any of the attributes or qualities of these masks. The problem is, someone like Muge and Taro, like they're having their own conflict in conjunction with how these masks work. Like Taro, Muge wants to stay as a cat for as long as she can to be with Hinode, but then realizes that, oh, well, at some point in time, like she's going to stop being able to understand humans. Right. So then like she has to deal with that. But she knew that from the beginning. The mask seller told her that up front. Like everything that happens with these masks, they're not a surprise like to us. It's just like the characters that have them have conflicts that they are trying to deal with in conjunction with how the masks work. And it's human nature to be like forgetful or to let emotions override your logical state of mind. And so I don't think the mask seller is like intentionally trying to inflict any damage. He is somebody that gives all of the options up front. And then you, the mask wearer, has to figure it out and choose what kind of a life you want to live and overcome whatever problems you have. That's my interpretation of it, at least. But I'll let Jen go if you guys don't have a response to that.
Okay, so I'm leaning more towards Team Bro, with I think he's more like the devil. And I say this because, like, okay, yeah, it show like he's crafty, and you say like everything was up front, but it's like eventually it was up front, and he groomed her throughout the whole process and played her like a little fiddle, and then was like, oh, okay, but if you do this or you want this, then I need this. And that's exactly what the devil does to us on a daily basis. But that's another topic. We're going to stick to the movie. And I don't think his intentions for them, it's not with a good heart. It's not with purity. It's selfish reasons, which is I want to keep these cats in this little tree and then just take their life for myself. He doesn't care if they die, live, human cats, he doesn't care. He just wants their soul, so to speak. And that's why he's a bad person.
Matt, say it.
He's a bad man.
There you go.
Bad man. So last things that I really have for the subject, but I don't think I think we've covered it. But it's been a while since I've got to bring up these two movies, and I'm always happy to do so. But they have very similar concepts in that, in one case, it's the literal devil. In another, it's implied they're the devil. Actually, I think it's implied. I'm gonna have to rewatch that movie because he might actually say that he's the devil as well. Anyway, Bedazzled, which has been remade in 2000 with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley, which is the version I'm familiar with, where it's the story of a guy basically selling his soul to the devil for 3 or 7 wishes. I can't remember what it is. I think it's 7 wishes. And ultimately, and spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen this, the devil absolutely would love another soul, but you also kind of find out that the point of it all is that the devil is making these wishes bad in order for the protagonist, Brendan Fraser, to realize, like, you have everything you need, kind of thing. Like it's torture in a way for a greater good. It's something bad for something good for a reason. The other example I was going to use is the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which is not one that I've gotten to talk about in a while. And you guys still, every time I say the title of this movie, are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. A guy basically makes a deal where they're trying to win souls, essentially. It's like one guy, if he gets this many souls, fantastic things happen. The other guy gets the souls and bad things happen. But ultimately, you find out that the devil's motivations isn't necessarily to win. It's really about the competition. It's really about, like, I need you to be the good. I need you to be the reason that people have something to strive for. It's like it's darkness for the light. And it's an odd concept. It's weird, and it's not easy to portray. And this is where the D&D nerd comes out. It's like it's chaotic good. It's you're doing all of these seemingly random things, but for a greater purpose. And it doesn't always mean that they're good things that you're doing. Sorry, that was much longer than I intended. I apologize.
No, you're fine. For some reason I got it popped in my head with like comparing this to Thanos, with getting all the stones. And like he thinks of what he's doing is for the greater good.
It's a different greater good situation, but
yeah. Yeah. I know it's not exactly the same, but it made me think of it.
Yeah. BT dubs, hashtag Thanos was right. Yeah, let's go ahead and take another break. We'll come back and then we'll round out this movie and positive and fun light.
Yeah.
Sunshine. So was it sunrise? Sunrise attack.
Sunrise attack. You do like the machine gun, like the cat machine gun thing?
Yeah.
She'll probably hate that.
All right.
She grabbed on. You gotta get when
Yes.
she little T-Rex arms, that's when you know you're solid. I had something that I kind of wanted to bring up that's a more or less a theory, but it kind of brings us towards the end of the movie. So did we want to go into that at all, or did anybody else have any more scenes and stuff? There's lots to talk about. We haven't even dug into well, Brian, I think you had more. I brought it up multiple times, but I think you had more you may have wanted to say about Muge jumping off of the roof onto through the tree.
Yeah. Let's talk about that one. So she's what, 2 stories?
It's definitely on the second floor.
Yeah.
Definitely above a tree, right? And she goes and just, first of all, someone's talking smack about you and you don't care. I get that. That's fine. People talk smack about me and I could care less all the time, right? Someone starts talking smack about the guy you like, and now all of a sudden it's worth jumping off a fucking building to prevent or to stop them from talking smack. What are we doing here? She jumps off the building and then goes through the tree and comically lands on all 4s. First of all, she shouldn't be able to stand up at this point. But it's anime, and apparently they're walking across skies, so physics are out the window already, right? That's gone. But like, if you're gonna do that, why would you then talk about addressing how she needs to go to a nurse? It's just, there's some weird things happening here. And then the fact that you have a student who just jumped off of a building at least 30 feet above the ground, and we're not even going to have teachers talk to her because she's now somehow able to go to the highest fucking place to eat lunch, is beyond me. Where are the teachers in caring about the students here?
Where are the teachers?
Yeah, just pondering.
Do we ever see a teacher?
I just love how she jumps off, and then when they're eating lunch, she's even in a higher place.
She climbs up the damn fence. You're like, oh my god, is she gonna jump from here too?
Yeah, I was like, this bitch is jumping off the roof now.
My god, she had me nervous.
Like, it was, I had so many questions going on here. I'm like, all right, you have to ignore the fact of like the possible injuries because of its anime and blah blah blah. But then I was really confused that in the storyline they addressed the nurse. I'm like, ooh, well, why would you do that? Like, that really threw me off a lot. And then, yeah, there was just a lot that threw me off about this entire thing. And if anyone has comments on it, love to hear them.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised when she jumped off that bridge, to essentially save her not boyfriend from more slander being talked about him. It's very anime to do stuff for characters to do stuff like that. And but what got me though is as she like goes through the tree, and then like the camera kind of like comes down with the tree, and you hear the like shh, like as she's coming down, and all she has is like a scratch on her leg. Like she doesn't have like twigs in her hair, her clothes aren't ripped up, like bruises, just like a scratch on her leg to go see the nurse. Like send this woman to like the ER because like she must have broken at least one bone.
She tried to make it look like she was in pain, which was even that was confusing. It just seemed like the rules were very much unknown in this scene.
Yeah.
But in reality, if someone does that, they're not standing up.
Yeah.
First, like she landed on all fours. That's going to be broken ulnas, broken. You landed on your knee. You're going to crack your knee. There are so many things that could happen. I don't know. The rules are just weird. Go ahead, Nick.
But also too, to add to that, like she does this because it's like cat tendencies. Like cats jump off of roofs into trees. They climb up fences, you know, partially or all the way. And she's kind of like unbeknowingly letting her cat tendencies come out and show to people. And you know, so some of the things that I don't know how related this is, but you know, when Hinode notices that she smells like the sun, like when they're up there eating on the roof, right? Like he starts to make that connection that, like, oh, she also smells like the sun, which Taro also, you know, does too. There was another realization later. I forgot what it was, but like she just has like these cat tendencies, and you know, I think it's fun. It's just kind of. It shows like how crazy she is and wanting to protect Hinode at all costs. And like we wouldn't do stuff like that, obviously. But you know, Muge just has the confidence and the drive to do it. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't know if this was explicitly stated in the rules and stuff, or if it's just kind of something that becomes more clear as the movie goes on and you're watching. But it seems like her transition to being a cat happens like it happens the more she wears the mask. Like you're saying, where she picks up these more cat-like tendencies. I think she, like, just in her mind, she's beginning to kind of blur the lines of like, am I a cat or am I a person? Like she's starting to kind of lose that connection. Like it's subtle because there's a moment where like the first moment that she's becoming unable to understand humans as a cat, where it's just kind of like silences out and there's like a little ring or something, you know, like it seems to, when she gets to the point of giving up her face, the transition seems to happen relatively quickly of like, yeah, you're going to be a cat forever now. Versus I like the theory of it having already started. Every time she was wearing the mask, it was the mask itself was drawing her more and more to the desire of becoming a cat. It's like, you want to become a cat. It's easier. It's so much better being a cat. And, you know, it's leading to things like this, where it's like, she's a reaction, and it's like, it's not, am I a cat? It's just, this is who I am. Like, she jumps.
This is where my mind tweaked things a little bit and made it relatable to me. So I'm going to speak for my girls out there listening, and I know we can all relate, and even some guys too, is that when you like somebody, you do crazy things to show it, and you also try to change yourself to become that person that you think they want in order to stay. And that's exactly how I was seeing, like, anytime she was Taro, like, oh, okay, he can love me in this form, but not in my regular form. So I'm just going to want to remain a cat. but then as you see, like just being herself was enough. And I think that's a beautiful story in it. Now, are women jumping off building? Not everybody. You know, it wasn't one of my moves.
Wasn't your go-to?
No.
Good call, Jen.
No. You know,
You're not getting on Woodside High's buildings?
right in the middle of the quad.
The auditorium?
Yeah, you know, I didn't take it to that level, but I did do impulsive things that, and I know many people do a certain impulsive thing. I think we all know where I'm going with that. Just to keep hold of, you know, a relationship. And it's sad. It's sad because you think like that's the only choice you have. And like, that's why the story of this movie is beautiful. Because it when you think of it that way, when you're seeing these ridiculous moves from her, it's like, take it on like an emotional level and like not as extreme, but then it's the same outcome. Like whether we're jumping off buildings for a man or female, you're still doing something that it's not very smart, you know, and it's not really like who you are. And then you try and be something that you're not. And then you end up getting the person that you love saying, I hate you. So, yeah.
Well said.
Thanks. I felt like it was a little jumbly, but I know what I mean.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Thank you.
And honestly, I started listening more intently to you and just kind of forgot what I was even going to say. So moving on.
Well, okay. I guess the point is like love makes you do crazy things. So yes, while she came out of that tree on all fours, totally fine.
Yeah.
What she did was crazy. That's the point.
And we've all been there. Maybe just not to that exact level.
Yeah, like
they're young.
I won't jump off a bridge for a woman.
They don't know how to express themselves, right? Like they're young. These are new feelings, and it's like, how do I tell somebody this? How do I, They don't know. They don't have any moves. They're kids. Watch more movies, kids, or read more like classic literature. Poetry is always a good way to intrigue somebody. And if they don't get it or don't show interest, they're probably not worth your time. Like, move on. Yeah, you want somebody with brains, not just beauty.
Bronze. Yeah,
I said
someone that accepts you for who you are.
Yeah, and embrace your big, beautiful brains, people.
Yeah.
You seem to.
I just have kind of a talking point.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the families of Muge and Hineto, like Muge's family and his family. Which, by the way, Hineto's I think his real name is Kento.
See,
his family calls him Kento.
I think though, like they have these nicknames, like family names, right? Like I feel like these are, I think they're so Japanese. To confirm, this movie is from Japan. I think these are like Japanese terms. Like it makes sense to not change them because they're names, but they mean something in Japan, and it doesn't translate. You got to change.
Are you saying that Hineto also means something like
no?
Like a type
I think
of
his
person?
name is Hinode, but like, what is it? Kente? What is it?
Kento.
Kento. I think Kento is like an actual word, an actual name that means something, and that's why they call him Kento. It's not just like his name is Kento in any actual way. It's like his nickname. Like I assume everybody's got nicknames with their families, right? Like something they call you. Cheeky, exactly, right? Like it's. but I imagine it means something, like it's an actual word that means something, and that's why they gave him that name. And I feel like if I knew what that word was, like if it meant sunrise, it's like, oh, that makes so much more sense. Like it ties it even more in with why Muge calls him Hinode sunrise. Like it's I feel like there's more. There's detail like that it's unknown to me without researching it. And I'm like, I don't fault the movie or anything for this, but it feels disappointing because it's like these feel like details that I know are there, but because I'm not familiar with the culture and the language, it's lost on me. Nick's hand was quick.
Well, Jen, did you have a response to him?
Yeah. Have you ever looked at babynames.com?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've seen those before.
And it shows like the meaning. Like my name means white wave. And so maybe they did
white.
Yeah, well, I am white. I don't know why it's white. But so maybe they did something like that. And I know like a lot of like authors and storytellers, they'll go to a source like babynames.com and try and so I bet if we were to look up Hinode, it probably means sunrise.
Well, I'll look up. I'm just gonna do Google Translate.
Kento is the meaning of Kento is a smart person, a smart Japanese man.
See, they probably went around that way.
Oh, here we go. Smart person, cure for depression, happiness, rising up, etc. Other meanings may depend on the kanji used. I don't know what that is. But yeah, like smart person is generally what Kento means.
Well, you're even talking about like depression. Like, see, that's a literal connection to the character, right? Like he's going through this depression. Like point proven, right? Is like I know that there's really good details in this movie that I'm missing because I don't know. Like I'd have to research it, but like in the middle of this movie, like I don't know.
But yeah, I know kind of went on a tangent with names, but I just wanted to talk about like the family life a little bit between the two characters. Like it's obvious their family calls them, like Kento is what his family calls Hinode. And then the Muge's family calls her Mio. And then we've learned what Muge means, with her friends calling her that. But I kind of want to talk about like Muge's family a little bit. Specifically like her mom, like the mom and stepmom, because there's the scene where Muge's mom is at the house when Muge is missing. Mm-hmm. And I was just curious like what you guys thought about the two moms essentially. Like you see the fight happen, but I was really upset with Muge's biological mom of being like, she was just kind of like this really, I don't know, like manipulative, like emotionally abusive kind of person. At least like that's how I saw her as, and I'm like, oh, this is like a direct correlation with how Muge is, and then there's the issues of her mom abandoning her, right? And like I'm sure that's like a big trauma for Muge herself. And then, but just to like see her mom just like treat like the family this way when her daughter is missing, like trying to put the blame on somebody, like she's always deflecting, like she doesn't take responsibility for anything. I was really furious with her. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I like this scene. Like I enjoyed that there was a moment that we got to see the family dynamic where it's mom, stepmom, and dad, and like how they interact, because that's not something you always get. And a lot of the times in storytelling and movies, television, when you see that dynamic, it is often aggressive and angry, and people are vindictive and mean and cruel. But every now and then you get a little bit lucky, and especially nowadays where with divorce being as common, sadly common as it is, People have been able to be, I would say, more mature about these situations and have been able to create family dynamics where it's like, yes, the people are divorced, but they're able to happily coexist, sharing a child. So like it's possible. But I like that there was this moment because we got to see the mom. We don't really get much of mom. So it was interesting to see her. And like you said, she there were moments and there was certain things that she did where I was like, I don't like that. I didn't like how she was so like she really attacked the stepmom. And from everything that I saw with the stepmom, I'm like, she seems like a nice person. Like she hasn't really done anything. She seems to be trying to do her best to be a good stepmom. She seems to care. Like she everything that I've seen and know about this one, I'm like, she doesn't necessarily deserve this kind of abuse. But also there were times where like, mom had a point. And then, stepmom brings up the point of like, you literally abandoned her. You literally left. And I do have a theory about the mom. Since we're talking about her, and it kind of leads into something a bit later. But the female cat that Muge meets in the tree that talked about abandoning her family.
Oh, Kinako.
Kiniko. No,
I
that
think
was
Kinako was so.
oh Kiniko.
Kiaru,
That was the stepmom's cat.
right?
This was a person who traded her face to be a cat.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
I believe that is Muge's mom. I think
Oh.
I think Muge's. I think she ran away. The cat found her. The mask seller found her, and she took the deal. And it's never like explicitly said, but it is mentioned, and she's flat out says like I left my family. And she also does a very good job of trying to do everything after that point to really help Muge. I think
So
it's
you're
possible.
saying that Muge's mother used to be a cat?
No, I'm saying, well, yes, in the sense of Muge's mother that we see in the scene of them arguing with stepmom is
originally a cat.
It was originally a cat wearing Muge mother's face.
That's not a
I
bad
didn't even
theory.
think about that.
Which would, I think, lead to like what you were saying of some of her behavior and why it is so aggressive and the way that it is.
Wow, that's not bad, Matt. I didn't even think of that.
But I also think it makes sense for why she as a mother would be like, she comes back and she would like, no, I want to be there. I want to be like, it's the 180 is like this cat saw this girl and was like, she's suffering. She's in pain. I want to be there for her. I want to help her. I also had the theory that the other guy that was sitting next to the female cat that admits that she abandoned her family. I want to rewatch it just to kind of like dig deeper into this theory, but I think that other guy that I think he throws the cup at the mask maker, I think it could be her dad.
You're talking about the pub scene, right?
The pub
bar
inside
scene?
of the tree, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's that other the male cat and the what I'm calling mom cat. They seem to have like a connection. They seem to have some sort of like understanding, and it just kind of made me feel like maybe even her dad was like he took this deal or something too.
But they could never tell.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's one of the things I think is really great about this. We were just arguing about how the details that we miss because of we don't know or understand the culture. We miss those little nuances, but there's all of these details as well as like this is just what I got to see and what I'm able to pull from it. Like there's a lot of really good stuff hidden within this movie. It's just not obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Brian.
Got a head scratcher.
Let's do it.
So obviously one of the bigger core concepts about this is the love and passion that Mayo has for Hinote, right?
Yes.
Okay. with all this love and fiery passion, the best we come up with in terms of dialogue is smells like the sun. What is romantic about that? What the fuck does the sun smell like? If I walked up to Casey and I said, "You smell like the sun," I'm curious the reaction I would get from her.
You know what? Try it out. See what happens.
Yeah.
But you can't go in there like, baby, you smell like the sun. You can't go in there half-assing this. I mean, like, you gotta build the moment as if it were going to be romantic, and you just smell like the sun.
All right.
You have to go in there believing. Otherwise, like, I'm just like, you've wanted this to fail for a funny story.
So next week, what's gonna happen is you're gonna see this red marker.
No, we're gonna see we're gonna see a TikTok that has gone viral because a wife is laughing at her husband so heavy, like she's keeled over, like she's having side pains.
That's gonna be the you know what? And why don't you let's just we'll do a Shern test, and I want you to just dialogue that one over to Jamie.
You are already at like a loss on this one, my friend. Like, I have upped the cheese factor on Jamie so much that, like, it's not unexpected for me to say some off the wall shit like that to her.
All right.
Would she appreciate it? Probably not. But would I say it? Absolutely. So it's no surprise to her. I'm sorry, I don't see the romance behind it at all. And I would love to hear a girls weigh in on this one too, but just you smell like the sun. She smells like the sun. Like, what the fuck is this? Here comes the sun. Doo doo doo.
Can I veto, or can we go to Jen and then Nick? Is that possible?
Sure.
Okay.
I remember, like, when we would be driving in Monterey, and then I would be like, "Oh my gosh, look at the ocean," and then your response was like, nature. And I was like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, I don't know. So there is a very intimate. There's something intimate about nature and humans. With some people, they just don't get it. But if you have that connection to nature and you feel like that peace, it's actually a very sweet saying. Like, it really is. I don't think it's anything. I thought that was cute. It's like, you smell like the sun. It's not something that you hear every day, but you also have to appreciate nature, I would say, in order to get it.
I think it's the uniqueness of the situation, right? Like, it's romantic. Think of any rom-com, right? Like, things become romantic because of the situation they're in. It's from sunrise, day sunrise. Like,
it's just to me, it's like a deeper intimacy.
Yeah.
Because that is not something that everybody would recognize. Like, that's something very special.
Anyone that's listening, love to hear comments.
Comment down below, son, if you're still
about your feelings on this you smell like the sun ordeal.
Give us a like if you think Jen is right and Brian is wrong.
And smash that bell.
Give us a like us if you think Jen is right. Subscribe if you think Brian's right.
If you think Nick and Matt need more time on the air talking, give us both.
Yeah. Or I'll just become a skeleton with my hand up.
Wow. Drama.
I was trying to think of what does, like, if the sun had a smell, like what is an experience in my life where I would think that. And the first thing that came to mind is, like, if you go swimming on a hot day and you lay your towel like on a chair, or like one of those, lounger chairs by the pool, and you've been in the pool for like an hour or two, like you're starting to get cold and you're just wet. You get out of the pool and you grab your towel that's been sitting in the sun the whole time. It's comforting. You can like smell like the sun heat off of the towel. You put the towel on and it's like warm and dry, and it's like bringing you comfort. I sort of get the. What's that?
It's like Costa Rica.
It's what I would imagine is what Hinode was going through when he would smell taro. Like taro would be outside with the sun, and just like the smell of like comfort and like warmth is what is the imagination that I get from like somebody smelling like the sun, like as like a towel being set out in the sun after like being cold and wet. It's like comfort and warmth and just like feeling good, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, or if you had that experience before, but that's just what I imagine the sun smelling like, I guess. Go ahead, Matt.
I wonder if like this whole idea of smelling like sunlight is kind of rooted in the idea of, you know, how cats will bathe in the sunlight. You know, they find a little sunbeam and they just like lay in it for hours. It just the literal bathing in sunlight, and like that would be their scent. I think of it the more the intent is for it to sound romantic and magical, because there's no true way of defining the smell of the sun. But I do think that it would have warmth to it, and it would be like fresh air, warm, fresh air, whatever that really means, but like warm, fresh air. I think maybe wildflowers, right? Like it's just it all goes back to like nature, right? Like it's warm, fresh air is what sunlight feels like. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Is it clicking, Brian? You're still not getting it?
Did we answer your question? Your head scratch.
Did all three of us, like, did
Not
one
at
of the
all.
three of us answer your question? No.
Because you guys use different objects that the sun happens to touch as but anyway.
The sun is sexy. We're moving on.
I think the closest thing that I can get to with what Matt was saying about, and Matt, just to piggyback what you were saying on, is to me it sounds like you're outdoors, middle of the woods, you're camping. You come out of your tent, the sun's just peeking over the mountain. It's about 8 a.m. You start to feel the rays of the sun coming down. Is that what you're talking about here?
Yeah. So like in that case,
that's a feeling I can relate to very easily, because I love to camp and I've experienced that feeling so many times. It is one of the better feelings is when you wake up and it's like not cold, but it's not scorching hot. Yeah. And the sun's just coming out. It's like peeking through the trees, all that. But when it comes to smell, I smell nature. I smell the breakfast that I'm cooking. I don't smell the fucking sun.
Wow. Just tell it like it is.
Next time.
I have one question for you, Brian.
We
with all the colors of the wind.
What?
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
No.
This is why you fail.
And Pocahontas couldn't either.
Next time your cat sits out in the sun, just smell him.
Yeah.
I mean, today we had 90-degree weather. There's plenty of apparently smell that I could have experienced.
Saying you smell like the sun isn't like, it doesn't mean I love you. Like it's just like a feeling that you have with someone, warmth and comfort. That's really what I think it is. It's just they're warming and comforting when they're next to you.
It's intimate.
Yeah.
Which is a feeling. Actually, I do have one more head scratcher. I wrote this one down. I just want to have a fun discussion. That's all it was. And I wrote it down before the second half of the movie. So basically, I wrote it down, I think, within 20 minutes of the movie, when I've already analyzed and established that Mayo is absolutely obsessed with Hinote, to where she's willing to jump off buildings for him and all this stuff, right? And so my head scratcher that I wrote is, what would Mayo do if for some random whatever reason Himote just died? Just
Oh, no.
Yes.
whether like car accident, heart attack, choking, whatever it is, he just straight up is no longer on this planet. What what does Crazy Pants do?
Wow.
He moves on to the next one.
Yeah, why are you laughing,
So
Brian?
Jen,
Come
you
on.
think she bounces and she just finds the new obsession?
Yeah.
Really? That's not where my mind went.
I don't think the new obsession. I start to worry for a lot of things.
You think we have a Romeo and Juliet on our hands?
There could be.
Yeah, that's
There
sort of what I
could
was
be
thinking
the
too.
I don't want to live anymore. That could be the breaking point.
You're forgetting she has the mask. It's the decision of, oh, Hinode is gone. I'm a cat forever and I forget the rest of this world.
Oh, interesting. So she goes cat for
Which
life.
essentially kills herself.
Yeah,
in a way.
like she's basically like, I've given up on being a human. Like there's nothing left for me. Like she has an out without having to kill herself. Like eventually she's gonna lose what it is. She's not gonna be able to understand humans. So like that's gonna be gone. In theory, that would mean that certain memories would start to fade and disappear as well. She's gonna be a cat.
But then she never learns about the to love her family and that her family loves her. So if she just becomes a cat forever, she's being selfish and abandoning her family like her mom abandoned her, right? Like that's not the happy
The world
ending we
shouldn't have
want.
taken Hinode from her and she wouldn't have become a cat. If the world wasn't so cruel and everybody got their happy endings like they should, then fine. But nope.
I was worried that this movie
Hinode's
was
dead. It's time to be a cat. YOLO.
I was worried that this movie was not going to have a happy ending. Like there was a point where I was like, "Wow, is like somebody going to die? Like is it going to end on a sad note? Like not a Disney ending." I was worried about that for a second because you never know with animes; they can go in any direction.
That's what was so interesting about this one is like I didn't know how it was going to end, and that's why I came up with a theory about the mask seller. Like, is this the plan the whole time? It felt by design, even with his interactions with Muge, it was always like, here's enough information to like, come on, you want to be a cat, like it's great, like it felt very pushy, but at the same time, it's also like you can opt out at any time. Just give up the cat mask. You can be a human, no worries. Like, just keep your mask. You're good. Like,
yeah. Do we want to mention? I know we talked about Muge's family, but was there anything that we wanted to talk about with Hinato's family at all? Like with the grandpa and the pottery class, and
what was the deal with his sister?
Yeah.
Was this an older sister, younger sister? I couldn't tell, but the fact that it's like, you were obsessed with this dude, like, what's that about? And it felt so bad at the end of like, I think it's during the credits, she finally asked him out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got a girlfriend, or I've got a wife, or something." It's like,
yeah, sister was a little hungry.
I don't know what her deal was.
she was thirsty.
She was definitely after something, and that one was a little strange there. I guess it's more like a blanket topic, but it kind of goes with it. Is there was a lot of strange sexual tension throughout this movie, which also made it very awkward at times. So we brought up the sister, but some other examples that I can think of is, what's up with them? They're like sitting on a bench and they're eating ice cream. But did you guys even notice the way that they were eating ice cream?
Bro.
What?
See, you're making it weird. I'm with you though. I get it.
And then there was a time when she like goes to visit Himote from the outside, and she's like in very short shorts and completely like bent over at the window. And I just don't understand. I was like, people chose to draw this. Like that was the weird thing about this. There was just some weird things going on there.
I've seen so many weirder things like that stuff doesn't even really register. I'll admit, excuse me. I will admit that like the popsicle is like, she's really down in that thing.
She's doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. I like, yeah.
That's funny. I didn't even realize that. I was like, why is her friend like beating the shit out of her? For like what reason?
What? And it's, I don't know. Cause like it's, I admit that I registered that and I was like, well, that's kind of odd. So like that one, I'm with you, but now you've got me questioning whether it was done that way on purpose, because there's the moment later where it's the cat as Muge does the whole like, I'm gonna stay with you to tomorrow, like tonight, and blah blah. It's like, what? It's like you basically just said you're gonna have sex with this guy, and it's like, what?
Yeah, there's
so this is like, I don't know if like there was like that was more or less foreshadowing, but I don't know.
There's definitely some hidden sexual. There was hidden sexual windows throughout this entire movie, and it wasn't really hidden. It was just more of I can't even call it discreet. I don't know what the word is.
I don't know. I feel like this is because sometimes it feels like you're looking for things, right? Like you're finding something that's not really there.
I truly wasn't looking. It's just something that caught my attention.
It's animation. Sometimes things just come off weird.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I've got to defend animators to a degree. It's like
that's fun.
Some things just come out weird.
But I mean, and again, this whole topic just started off with what you mentioned about the sister, and she was just this horny girl throughout the entire movie. Like there was not one scene where she didn't seem like she was hurting for the squirting. So,
buddy,
I just don't know. I was like, how else am I supposed to take this, guys?
Yeah. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to say you're wrong. I don't want to say you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like I know with anime, like it is definitely sometimes drawn towards like a male audience. Like it's geared towards a male audience for the most part. And it is not uncommon to have characters like stand or sit or lean or lay down in kind of like a very not like sexual pose, but maybe like a promiscuous or a little bit more like relaxed or casual than normal. Again, it's like interpretation, right? Like with animation, it's how you interpret things. And so, like Brian, when you said with the popsicle, like when Yori has her head back and she's like downing her popsicle like that, like you can interpret that as a very like sexual act, right? But that could also just be like the limitations of animating, and that maybe that's just how that character eats a popsicle.
My original
it could be many things.
Who eats a popsicle like that?
Maybe Yori does. Like it's just I'm just saying like there's just multiple ways of viewing things, and whether it's the intention or not to make it sexual, it just depends. Yeah.
There was another scene where I actually commended them on the animation, because I was like, well, this could have gotten awkward really fast, or maybe more awkward, where she's in her school uniform. So she's in her skirt. I think she's actually under a bed and she's throwing what I would say is a tantrum, essentially. So she's tossing and flailing and all about.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, there are multiple times where like, yeah, she would be in more or less compromising position. but they made a point to make sure that the skirt always maintains. This is where it's like in physics, it always maintains between her legs. So it's like at no point are her legs ever open or exposed. And like she's tossing and flailing about. And like I said, they made a point to make sure she remained covered at all times. So it's like that's where, if they were really going for awkwardness or things like that, like they could do it. But because of everything else, it's like I accept it as like it's kids being kids, right? Like, I mean, how do you eat a popsicle, especially when you're at the bottom part of it? It's like, I'm not saying you're going in and out with the thing the whole time, but like if you're having a conversation with your friend, you're gonna like have the popsicle in your mouth, you're gonna have the popsicle out of your mouth. Like you're like, it's so like it's animation. You can't always have people just static because then it looks weird. And like that's the problem with animation, is like there has to be some motion. So you get weird things of somebody who is eating a popsicle awkwardly. But what's the alternative? You have them with the popsicle outside their mouth and they're doing weird kitty licks. You know what I mean? Like that's worse. It's just saying. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like what's the alternative? It's much worse.
Kitty licks.
And then he did like the motion for that. Like,
I had to. For anybody, if anybody that was part of it or saw when it happened, one of my characters in D&D, like that's how he learned to drink alcohol, was basically kitty licks, and I mimicked it then too. So like, fun joke for any of those fun friends. Inside joke I'm sharing with the world. You're welcome.
Brian, have you as a kid ever had popsicles with your friends and you're not just like eating a popsicle like in and out before, but you don't say anything because you don't want to make the situation awkward, or you, as a kid, like you're not aware of what that meaning is? Like,
I recall
what is like a non-sexual way to eat a popsicle?
The short answer is there is none.
So just don't have them eating popsicles.
Number one.
Well, you could bite them and then chew them, but who does that?
Me. That's normally how I ate popsicles. Was I would just bite and chew, but I really wasn't into popsicles that much anyway. I was more of the ice cream sandwiches, or ice cream on a stick, or you know, the one of them had like Ninja Turtles with gumball eyeballs, and
gumball eyeballs are the worst. But
they were. But the ice cream was good. But if I ever did do a popsicle, it was more of like kind of to the side bite, and that was it. Or like even like Otter Pops. Yeah, we had Otter Pops as well, but I guess that's the sad thing is once you cross an age threshold, there is no longer an appropriate way to eat a popsicle without it looking raunchy.
Yeah,
I say grow up and eat the popsicle. But the weird thing I did as a kid with a popsicle, like, did you guys ever have the twin pops where it's like the double stick popsicle? You break it. So
yeah.
I would get that, and I would get a bowl, and like I would break them off of the popsicle stick so that like I'd essentially have like pieces of popsicle, and then I'd use the popsicle sticks as chopsticks to like pick up the pieces and like
nice.
So like
like your ghetto ass shaved ice.
It was so freaking good though. Like but that was the weird thing I would do with popsicles.
I don't know why, but when you first started that, I thought you were gonna be like, so you know those twin things? Yeah. So what I did is I broke them and I just fucking double fisted it.
No.
Like talk shit now, but just
no.
I thought you were gonna say that you used like one of the popsicle sticks as like a spoon or like a fork. Then you would eat it like it was a bowl of ice cream.
Chopsticks, like it's a bowl of rice.
That's good. Cut to Brian like walking on the boardwalk and somebody eats a popsicle like that. You're just like, what the fuck is going on? The person eating is like, huh? You just walk away.
I'm like walk by. I'm like, go to Cold Stone, you perv.
Yeah. And then like half their popsicle like falls in their lap, like melts like from. Oh my god!
I have one quote left. I've looked at my notes. I think, yeah, one quote.
Okay.
I have a couple of quotes. Well,
I mean, was there anything from the ending that we wanted to talk about?
well, I want to say like the whole bridge thing and all of that stuff, that was really cool. It was the whole idea of like if you're a cat, you can see it thing. Like,
Yeah.
that seemed really interesting to me because have you seen cats like when they're prowling around the house and they're on objects? It's like you see like a connection of things, and it's like you're gonna leap here, go to here, like you're following a trail, but I don't see it or comprehend why. So it's like that was a cool thing, and then getting the actual visual of it and like seeing this tree and all of it exposed. It's like, wow, that was really cool. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, to pad your point just a little bit more, as especially coming from the owner of two very adventurous cats, I cannot tell you how many times I've caught one or both of them looking up at something, and I'm looking up, and then I look at them, and I look up, and I'm like, for the life of me, I have no idea what they're looking at, because I see my ceiling, my walls. There's nothing, there's no spot, there's no dots, there's absolutely zero to focus on. But these cats are just dialed and locked. And I'm like, they're gonna jump through the wall or something. And I don't know what they're looking at. So in terms of that makes a really good thing. It's a good idea to have this basically an entire world or island, I think they call it cat island, that only cats can see, because that's pretty plausible, because I think any cat owner has experienced what I just talked about, and it will make you feel that you're going crazy. 100%.
Yeah. There's Jen, so she's gonna watch this. Wow, this is a long one. There's a much shorter video. Oh, there's a much better video. I'm gonna find a better video than that. That is ridiculous. Not bad though. Here's the quote, and then I'll follow it with my note after the quote. So, how wide is this? And my note is asking the right questions. I have no idea what that's in reference
to. Bridge.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Note is he's walking blindly on this bridge and he's like, how wide is this?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Now I'm much happier about why I wrote that quote down.
Yeah.
The quote that I wrote down, my one and only, don't forget to be my friend tomorrow.
Oh, when was that?
No one caught it?
No.
Miko says it to her friend.
When?
To Yori?
Yori, yes. It's when the scene that I remember is they were walking home. One goes to the left, one goes to the right.
Okay.
There was some kind of stone wall in the center, and I think like a red sign.
Oh, that one, yeah.
That's when the cat was Mugo.
And she ended up, it was like towards the beginning of the movie, I know that.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, cool, don't forget to be my friend tomorrow. And then the other one's like, you're so weird. And then it like cutscene after that. But I was like, wow, that is a sad to hear. Don't forget to be my friend tomorrow.
See, well, that shows up being like a more important thing when we get the backstory of like Yuri was joining everybody and like not being her friend and ostracizing her and everything. And so like it means something. And I also think it was a big red flag. Like when Yuri was walking back home with her and they got to that fork in the road and she didn't say her thing. She kind of registered that. I was like, well, that's weird. So it's like, I think that's something that she would normally say. And like, that was just kind of like their goodbyes. Like, don't forget to be my friend tomorrow. You're so weird. Like that was the see you tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah.
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 Something I just remembered. Is it ever explained why Hinode only gets cat arms, like human-sized cat arms?
No.
Is that ever explained?
No. I want to know.
I thought maybe there was, and I just didn't catch it.
No. I didn't catch the explanation.
As far as I know, they don't.
I guess we'll never know.
They just found a mask and randomly put it on. In the weirdest way, too. Did anyone catch that?
Maybe you like have to want it. It's kind of like how she couldn't change back into a human because she wasn't sure if she really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, I don't know if I really want to be a cat. So we got only the.
I want to be a cat.
Well, did anyone even notice the way that the mask was put on?
But it's like you have to do a
have to do
backflip or
It's like a
something.
full-on freaking somersault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no? Okay.
Well, I'll
Be
what I'll say
an
to that,
acrobat. Go for it.
like what I'll say to that though is in the beginning when Muge is transforming into the cat, you don't actually see the transformation. Like you get pieces of it little by little as the movie goes on. And I kind of like that they don't show it immediately, like how the full transformation happens. It kind of keeps it a bit of a mystery. And then you get the full reveal of how the transformation happens at like towards the end. I just thought that was kind of like a creative thing to kind of like keep the audience, teasing a little bit of like, whoa, like how are they transforming? And is it just you put on the mask and you become it? No, you fucking do a full like somersault flip to do it. I just thought that was fun.
So does that mean when Mio is falling off the roof and she has the mask that she has to do in midair, she has to do a somersault flip to turn into the cat to land as the cat?
Yeah, so that's what my scene was, the cat landing scene. That's why the camera cuts to the ground, because you don't actually see her do the somersault in the air.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But we know it happened.
Yes, now we do. Yeah.
We know.
Yeah. But I am curious though, is how aware are the citizens of this town about these masks? Like, do people just know about them, or is it kind of like a if you know sort of thing?
I think the better question to ask is who is full human, who is cat turned into human, who is full cat, and who is human turned into cat?
Or just cat, like you're like just a cat, like nothing.
Yeah, no, that's full cat.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because basically at this point you can have 4 different essential entities, if you will, can exist in this place.
You want to say something? Do you want to say something?
You cat to be kitten me, right? Meow.
Do you want to say something? Kiwi says, I'm a full cat.
Are you sure, Jen? Are you sure Kiwi's not your boyfriend in cat form?
Nope.
Does Kiwi smell like the sun?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Matt, are you looking for something?
Just kind of messing with the thing, trying to prep, but not particularly. No.
Okay, cool. I think we can wrap this up.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
I know we're like an hour earlier than normal,
There's-
but that's fine.
Yeah, there's no real time limit on us. It's we get through the movie and we have a conversation.
Yeah.
Sweet. So we're on final thoughts and who won the movie. I'm getting at this point that we don't really have many final thoughts. So who wins the movie?
Yeah, this one just wasn't for me. Plain and simple. Good discussion. I think it was good just bringing out some of the, I guess, the deeper meaning. Matt, I think your theory of the female cat being her mom that was deep, bro. That was good. That was really good. As far as who won the movie, I'm gonna have to just go with I mean, truly, I guess this truly is like who won the movie for me, because it's the only thing that I can think of, and it's the animation. It's very, very pretty and detailed and stunning to look at. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay. I can go. Don't really have much more to add. I agree with you. The animation is just absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. The story could use some work, but I ultimately I think it is a good story. I just don't think it's executed perfectly, at least for an American audience. But I also don't think this was made for an American audience. So there's that. And I'm not faulting it for it. It's a good story. It's fun. I like the voice actors, although she's bonkers and full of energy. Muge is wonderfully voiced. Like the voice actress did an incredible job. It's very emotional. Like Jen, if you watch it again with the English dub, hopefully you'll see what I mean. But like she does a phenomenal job. But for who wins the movie, it's got to be the animation for me, of course. Like if I'm being fair, it's the best part of this movie. The animation is incredible. It's beautiful. They do such a wonderful job with like the lens flares and everything. It's beautiful. Not much more to add to that. So decent enough movie. Hopefully it could have been better, but like I think we've come up with some good ideas of changes that could have been made with as is, and maybe I like the idea of re-edit. A re-edit I think could have been a big benefit for this thing,
especially on the intro.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. I enjoyed this movie. I really liked it. I enjoy anime though, so anytime you guys want to pick anime, I'm here for it. Like once the initial shock got through, because I clearly watched a different movie than you guys did. So then we were able to focus on the story, and I really, really like it. And the winner for me is the masks. The mask win it. We've all put on a mask, and we just have to remember that that's not who we are, and we put those on because of how the world shapes us to be, rather than who we truly are. So be true to yourselves, everybody, and the right people will stay with you. Yeah.
Wow.
I like
a winner
that.
and a moral tip. I like it.
Jen dropping the big words, the big brain. All right.
I enjoyed this movie. Like Matt said, I think the story could just be a little bit better. But wins it for me, I got to give it to Taro. I mean, that cat is so damn cute. I can't. I want it. I want one. Those blue eyes and the white fur. Oh, it just probably smells like the sun, and I want it.
Probably guaranteed.
Yeah. Taro wins it for me.
Yeah, that wraps it up for A Whisker Away. Sorry, we kind of faded a little bit towards the end there, but I think we gave it our all. if anybody out there is interested in Whisker Away, hopefully you enjoy it, and let us know what you think in the comments. Check us out here on Twitch at GoodFlickas. You can watch past episodes on YouTube. New one should be dropping soon at GoodFlickas. You can see us on Instagram at good.flickas, and send us an email at goodflickas2020@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a shout out. I jumped into this because I wanted to do those, but what is next week's pick? I believe, Brian, it's your turn.
It is. Next week we are ending animation August. What the fuck? Did you guys enjoy animation August? Was it fun?
Yeah. You're doing the last animated movie?
No,
it's not gonna. It's done. So this was
this is it. This was the last of animation August, because next week is we're in September.
Scary Movie September?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I tried.
Did you guys enjoy animation August though? Did we have fun?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
What's our theme? What's our theme next month?
Are we doing themes every month now?
I don't think we can afford to do themes every month.
I don't think so.
No. Maybe like every other month or every couple months.
I like Animation August as a recurring thing, simply because animation is not necessarily a main focus of ours as moviegoers in general.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a lot less, so
it brings us back to the animation days. Yeah.
It reminds us that there are simpler times, and sometimes you just need pen and ink.
But yes, so I do have next week's pick. It will not be animated.
Lame.
The real people.
Jen, I have a question for you.
Are you not entertained?
Okay.
I hope I spoiled it.
Do you want to play a game?
No.
Oh gosh.
My question for you is, did you blow up a building?
Is it Twin Towers?
Because I had to make a phone call.
Die Hard? Phone booth?
Oh, wait.
Did I blow up a building because you had to make a phone call?
I know I know for a fact you've seen this movie, because we've
sounds familiar.
We've watched it during camping.
Blow up a building because of a phone call.
Watched a movie during camping?
Oh, is this Enemy of the State?
Boom!
Ooh.
I got it.
I knew you'd get it. I'm so proud of you.
All right.
Oh yeah, Enemy of the State. It's on
Enemy
Hulu right
of the
now.
State on Hulu. Okay.
It's time.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I need the login and password.
Don't say that. You don't sell it in the stream.
We can edit.
Yeah. we're broadcasting live, Jen.
We can't live edit.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the watched it during camping? Like, you guys watched movies while you were camping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought of that as an idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and at Shasta they even had movie night, and like you go to like where they had like the store, and they had a projector, and you would just sit outside on the benches with everybody, and you could get your ice cream and snacks and watch a movie.
Yep.
Oh,
Love that.
interesting. Never heard of that before.
But yeah, Enemy of the State. We're going to be talking about Will Smith, Gene Hackman. I can't wait for this one.
All right.
Willy Wonka, the chocolate factory guy?
No, that's
Is that Gene Hackman?
No,
Did he do it again?
That's
I think he
Gene
did it
Wilder.
again.
Wilder. That's
Gene
Gene
Wilder.
Wilder.
Nick,
Oh,
you
Gene
do
Wilder.
this every time.
Here's
I know this is
Gene-
not the first time I've done that.
Here's Gene and instantly goes to Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Not the time. Not even.
Gene
close.
Wilder. Yeah, my bad.
Not even in the same state.
Very different people.
Oh my god! Wait, Nick, yeah. When you see this, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's not Willy Wonka."
Yeah, you're like, oh, wrong person.
Yeah, the other Gene, the wrong Gene.
There, I do that too with Hugh.
Is that the lead singer of Kiss? No.
Gene.
Gene
No,
Simmons.
I forget his name, like Jew Huff or not Jew. I'm just gonna stop talking.
Man, we have descended. I've been trying to close this out too. Like this could all be over, guys.
Oh my god.
We're having a good time.
We are
Did
having a
you
good time.
just-
This is why I'm not stopping it.
Did you just say Jew Hefner?
I don't know what I said. Good night,
Dude, this is
Jude
gonna
Law?
sound like a weird question. Was Hugh Hefner Jewish?
Thanks for watching.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Interesting.
If you're still here,
So you had Hugh Hefner with the Playboy bunnies, and then Jew Hefner was the Playboy pennies. So
Anyway, let us close out and end our misery of this movie.
God, that was so fun.
Oh my god. Anyway,
All right, yes.
thank
So,
you all for
Enemy of the
for
State
watching.
next week.
Yes, thank you all for watching. Tune in next week. Watch us live here on Twitch as we talk about Enemy of the State. And you can check out our past videos on YouTube. One should be dropping soon in the next 24 hours or so. So be on the lookout. With that, I think we're good to go ahead and close out. Brian, say your piece, brother.
Yeah, our movie fam. This one's been interesting, and I'd say it's still been fun. It's always fun with GoodFlickas. Go out there tomorrow, smell the sunshine, and please don't forget that we're friends tomorrow. We'll see you next week.